Welcome everyone to the FATED Connections Path of Exile Community Podcast, episode number 74. It's been a while. We haven't had a podcast in so long that the new league's already announced. Yesterday night, just a little bit longer than 24 hours ago, we had the reveal stream for Path of Exile 3.18 Sentinel. And alongside the Challenge League, we have a bunch of interesting changes coming to rare monsters, to the endgame Atlas passive tree, and to the game in general. Although, most notably, there is no change to the game balance in terms of skills, abilities, ascendancy classes, but there's still tons of things to talk about. And as we're running late, we'll skip the introductions. The people who have been here have already heard us talk for quite some time, and we want to get into the juice. So without further ado, let us welcome our guests, Tuna, Velyna, and BalorMage, as always. Hi, guys. Let's jump into it. Tuna, first impression. What were your first thoughts when you saw Sentinel?
Really like them iterating upon the Atlas passive tree. I'm very happy to see that. So that gives me hope as well for the future. Like building upon a modular system is always a good thing. So that's really nice. I'm looking forward to that. And the league looks pretty good as well. But that's something that I think we'll have to wait and see. But yeah. Pretty sweet so far.
I think I agree. That's a good take for the first, TLDR. What do you think, Velyna?
I don't even know what Sentinel League is at this point because I'm just so excited about all the quality of life things that I'm like, who? What? Little things I put together? That sounds awesome. Sure. Everything else is incredible. Like, what do you mean ascendancies that we don't even know what they are yet? I just saw this thing for like your favorite maps can never drop. I can get rid of cells forever, dude. Ever. No cells. Think about all the trash maps I can get rid of. Oh my god. Oh, the extra Uba bosses. I predicted that, by the way. I just want to say my one prediction. I mean, it had to happen. We all knew it. But I'm saying I took that prediction.
I didn't think it was going to happen that fast, honestly. Like, no, I had no high hopes for that.
I just have to say that I've decided Uber Elder. I'm just going to call Primal Ancient Legendary Elder.
This works.
Not Ubu
This
Elder.
absolutely works. Not Uba. Uba works actually really well. But yeah, I'm just wow. I remember before the incident of 3.15. Where people were like, if only they would give us quality of life, I wouldn't even care about the league that much, you know? Quality of life, here you go. And you just slap some quality of life in this bad boy, you know? Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot of quality.
I'm excited. You could tell.
This bad boy can fit so much quality of life. Yeah, I can vividly imagine the meme. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I'm a little bit sad myself because I've been preaching this a lot on stream. Is like, I don't want leagues all the time that have like an extra thing in the map that you click that spawns monsters that you then kill and then you get loot. I'm just sort of tired of this very common ARPG trope, and I know it's very hard to deviate from it without having it feel like a Path of Exile league, and they will necessarily have to come back to that concept over and over again. But I really personally enjoyed Betrayal. That's always my perfect league because it sort of forces itself onto you, and you need to make decisions differently without like being able to opt out. There's always like a different sort of pressure onto your build and onto everything you do. And sadly, Sentinel doesn't do that either, but it is meaningfully different from how, from Ritual, Ultimatum, Legion, Breach, Blight, and all the ones that you click and you spawn monsters and you pick up the loot. So I'm willing to give it a try. And it definitely probably can make for some really spicy encounters in combination with the new rare monster mods that come from Arch Nemesis and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to some really tight moment-to-moment gameplay.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I agree with you, but for me, it's always been more on the side of like enjoying mechanics that are sort of like things that you can explore within themselves. That are I mean, you could look at things like synthesis. You could look at things like even heist, even though I don't really like heist at all, or delve, which is sort of self-contained. And it's like a system in itself that you can explore, and it's like a mini game within the game that is then tied into the main game. So it's sort of like you can create value for other people outside of that mechanic by playing inside that mechanic, and that's something I enjoyed about PoE as well. And lately, since many leagues, it's just been focused around being in the Atlas, which is completely fine. But I sort of would like to maybe see something that's, like more of a system rather than
More
just
out
like
there.
Something like delve, synthesis, or heist that's outside of the Atlas.
You know what?
Yeah,
Though?
or it could even be in the Atlas, but it be like an actual system. If you know what I mean, like something that you have to, even if that doesn't mean like having to stop in maps, because I don't particularly like stopping in maps and looking at things like expedition or whatever. But I do like expedition encounters per se, but it's just maybe like something that I actually have to think about, and plan around, and it's like less of a carrot and stick thing, and more of like I become the sort of like the driver, if that makes sense. Like I'm in control of my rewards because of the decisions I made.
And then you hit the one damage that you do, and now you get nothing.
Yeah. I think Expedition is good at that, right? Because you are pretty much in control in logbooks, but in maps it's just you take everything, so it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think mechanically logbooks, like in general, logbooks are very good.
Big good money design. In logbooks. Logbooks and actually Delve, because nobody does it anymore. Huge money.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. I'm still never doing Delve, and I still just sell logbooks. Like I'm somebody, I just want to exist in the Atlas. I don't like any of this. Like, it should exist. I'm happy it does, but I'm just gonna sell that stuff on because it's not for me. So am I the only one who's like a little concerned about Sentinel League itself?
Like about the actual mechanics of putting two things together to craft another thing?
Not
then have
that.
it the depletion?
No. The way it looks to function in maps, I'm pretty sure I move too fast to use them. Like, when am I going to have a screen full of mobs? Mobs are dead before I get to the screen.
Just don't play a meta build, Balor. Okay,
I'm not. I'm going to be league starting as Lightning Arrow.
That sounds like it could be meta. All right.
And I'm worried. To be fair, before I get like too upset about it, I'm still incredibly happy overall. Like all the quality of life stuff, all the Atlas changes, like everything looks great, and I'm super excited about it. I'm worried that the Sentinel League itself will be one of those things that I'm ignoring from like day 3 for the rest of the league. And it'll just be like playing in standard again, which is what this last league was for me. By the time I was juicing properly and wearing a headhunter, I just didn't do recipes anymore. And then I couldn't even hide them, so it was just like extra green stuff to not click in my map.
To not click on. And then accidentally click on and be like, oh, why?
Yeah. And I'm worried that might happen again.
Yeah.
That's all.
They have their own spot, right?
Yeah, they do. They got their own stash. Yeah.
Okay.
But when you pick them up, they're 2x2s instead of one item. Yeah. So they take up so much space.
Yeah, and they seem to go into your inventory, right? Like you have a separate stash for them in your hideout then, or what? Like separate to your actual stash?
Yeah.
But when you pick them up in the map when they drop? No?
They're still going to go to your inventory. They've just got like a heist locker.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah. Right, they got a heist locker, but you need to bring them back through the portal in your inventory, and then you can stash them in the dedicated space. Yeah. Instead of like having to waste your own stash space that you may not have that much of if you're a new player who has barely invested into getting stash tabs. So that's good that they have like a system for storing them, but I do think that's troublesome that they are so big. Like 2x2 is pretty big. Like, how many do we drop per map? What do you think?
Oh. I mean, they told me we were going to be getting like 2 organs per map, and I get like 35 organs per map. So I don't know, like 15 sentinels a map if you're juicing. Like
That would be
who
crazy,
knows?
dude. Because like they have charges, right? Like what we've seen from what we've seen now, they have like between 8 and 12 charges each, and you can only use each sentinel type once per map. So that means like they last you a while, right? Like even if you get only one every 3 maps, you're not going to run out.
I don't know. To me, it looks like depends how many monsters are in your map or like what you craft on it and how many times it triggers. But to me, it seemed like, this was the thing that worried me the most, was that they would probably only last about 3 maps or something.
Well, so the good ones, the rare ones, have 12 charges, and if you spec into it, you can only use each one 2 per map, twice per map, no matter what they are. If they're 1 per map by default, and you can spec into using 2 per map, which means every 6 maps you've got to replace them if you're using only good ones.
All right.
Which doesn't line up with sextant use, and I just
At
gotta
all.
tell you, that's real annoying.
Wait. If you only use 3 sextants, then it's 3 and 3 is 6. It's like, you just got to double down on your sextants before you change your sentinel.
Who uses
my
3s?
God.
No,
I do, because I don't care about that extra one. What is it? 33% more or something? I don't give. I'm on the other side of the busy.
The issue as well is that like if you actually do want to get the ones that you want, you have to probably buy them. Like I'm like this sort of player who I'm pretty lazy when it comes to playing, and there's certain things that just like if it's I'm the sort of player that's like I just want to do what I like doing, and if there's something that just annoys me even a tiny bit, I completely ignore it. And that's kind of like what happened with Arch Nemesis, and even small things like I don't like incubators, so I even if I filter out all the best ones, I just don't use them. So this
I've still
mechanic,
got like half a quad tab full of those, and I
forget
filter them.
about
Like
them.
they're only the good ones. I just never put them on.
Throw them in the garbage. Okay.
I just tend to forget about them. By the
that's
time
it.
like I'm going like in the map and I remember it, then it's too late because it's in the stash.
I literally forget about my sextants, which is good. Everybody loves them. And it's just like 3 a map. I don't know.
there's a level to how many things that you need to keep track of. I think in Path of Exile, we're sort of slowly getting away from the thing that we have to like check, double check, triple check everything. But at the same time, it's like, okay, every time you open a map, like I get like a little bit of anxiety if I'm investing a lot into a map. I'm like, I check my sextant, I double check it, and then I make sure that everything's right. I check my map that I've rolled it correctly, put my scarabs in, and then again do the checks again. It's like, okay, now I can open the thing, and then you do it.
And then
but
because
once you get in the
checked
flow
twice,
of that,
it unselects the atlas, the thing that you've picked, and you're like, shit, have I picked that right again? Hang on, scroll back down to the bottom, find the one that I want. There it is.
Oh, God.
And adding
I'm so
more
happy
things to
that
that can
they-
become like mentally like taxing, I suppose.
So happy that they fixed the bug where it deselects the mod on your map device. That threw me
That
off
was a
so
bug?
many times. Yeah, there was like a bug fix in the patch notes where it said if you use like I don't know what it was. If you used something on a map, then on the next map that you'd open, it was deselected and you'd have to select a new one. I don't know. Maybe it was when you use one of the special ones or something like that.
I always just had to select the new one every map.
Yeah.
That's how it's been.
I'll have to check what the patch notes are.
Yeah, every map you gotta scroll down.
Because it's not
Like
every
every
map.
one.
Like if I run maps like without that, then it works. But yeah, I'll check that out. While I'm checking that out, quickly talk about the fact that the micromanagement, unlike Arch Nemesis, the micromanagement happens like mostly outside of the map with Sentinel, right? You have to press the button to activate the Sentinel at the pivotal point where you have like the big pack around you and you want to buff them to get like max rewards. But that should be fine if you don't have a very, button heavy build. Then you can easily fit that into your rotation. And if you like already like juicing your maps and you're doing like all these extra steps of sextants, scarabs, map thing and stuff, then maybe you can fit in the Sentinel thing. I personally think it boils down to whether they're like you need to click them and then move them to the inventory slot and click again, or whether you could just right click them and they instantly equipped. Like if it goes fast, then it's fine, I think.
They probably instantly equip, and you also most likely will be able to filter them out. So if you don't want to pick up all the ones that are not relevant to you or all the ones that nobody wants to buy, then since they drop corrupted, that means that they're identified and they have explicit modifiers and they're not unique. So that means those explicit modifiers have to be named. So there will be filtering sections for them in Filter Blade. So luckily we'll be able to actually just be like, oh, I don't want the ones that are just like bad mods or whatever. So you can filter them out. So that's a good thing. So this goes back to the complaint that you guys said earlier of like maybe like 20 of them dropping per map. But if you're able to filter them out, you only get the ones that are good for you.
Yeah.
So hopefully, or good for the recipes that you do, because there's actually like multiple levels of these little robots, right? Because eventually, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be getting like 2 different genome types or 2 similar genome types to then combine them together to create another string of genome or whatever they want to call it, to then get this like extra modifier on there, which is what you want to look for. And most likely, that's a 33% chance of getting that.
We breeding sentinels? Is this Pokemon? Like, what's happening?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god, really?
The whole thing is
Wait,
like
we
they
breed
have
them?
like genome strings basically. And
I
like,
thought they
have,
just
like,
gave me
A,
new
B, and C.
random. They don't give me new random?
It's not random.
breed-
It's like the specific like genomes to the specific robots. Yeah.
Here's the important part, though, right? It originally started as like a what do you call it? Like a life-based thing. Like we were breeding something. Like it was a life-based thing. It wasn't, and then it changed over the course of development into these like robots. But like the whole thing is like literally actually breeding things.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, it looks like a uterus.
What do you mean?
Go and have a look.
The recombinator, yeah, I know what you mean.
The recombinator looks like a uterus, and you can't unsee it.
It's the meaning of life. I don't see that. it's
I mean,
the cradle,
the thing is,
the cradle of life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you're going to be seeing all league now. All league. You can't not see it anymore.
I mean, at the end of the day, don't many things look like a uterus? Like, let's be real here.
I mean, it's really, really reduced. Like, it's really abstract, right? It's like, just 2 things here, and 1 thing down there.
I mean,
and then,
it's
like,
literally the frog's face in the right light could probably look the same. Like, don't
exactly. Like, it's just a smiley with an astonished face.
I think you are seeing what you want to see, Baylor. I ain't gonna lie here.
Yeah, hormones kicking in, Balor. It's time to become a father.
I want to unsee that.
You want to unsee it? It's too late. You already said so.
I want to unsee it.
When I saw it, I honestly, I thought it was like, is this Wrath of the Lich King? I saw little spiky horns. It was the same kind of blue. I was like, what is this? I did not even remotely pick up on any of that. And I also didn't realize that I was gaining 2 traits and a random 3rd trait.
Yeah.
Which
Think
is
of it like a
very...
DNA combining, basically.
That is kind of exciting. I'm worried about how much time I'm going to spend into that.
So now you understand what I'm seeing and what I'm saying with the micro, right?
Yeah. I feel like I'm just going to buy them. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I'm more interested in when they showed how you use them. He had his Sentinel said like 84 in this one area and like 56 in this other one. Like he had this many charges or stacks or something when he was hitting them in the display. Why is there a uterus on the screen? I just saw.
I was just like, so people could see that it's like, decide for themselves. Just
turned
continue.
my head for a second. Anyways, so yeah. You know what? That totally threw me off. Who?
She doesn't even remember what she was talking about. It's gone.
It's gone. It was wiped away by the.
I should be the one to bring you back on
uterus.
track now because I actually was listening, but I also forgot now.
I don't know. I don't know what I was saying anymore. It's gone now. That was too.
Derailed everyone.
My brain was gone. Okay, what I just saw there. What?
So
snap.
Yeah, that makes sense why Chris said that it's like genetic recombination. Like, I was a little bit thrown off when he said that like that anyone who has something to do with IT or with computer science or something like that will recognize that it's like genetic recombination. I was like, what does genetic recombination have to do with computer science? Like, is that not like...
Do two sentinels love each other and then create a third sentinel? Is this how it works?
Yeah. But so you think there's certain mods that can only spawn when you combine like certain tiers? Like, say the sentinels that you find all have tier 1 mods, or like one level, right? And then if you combine 2 level 1 things, then you may get a level 2, and then these are only from recombination. You can't drop them, and then you can combine those again and get like a higher tier. Is that what you think? That there's exclusive mods that are sort of locked behind repeated cycles of recombination?
Honestly, I just think
synthesis feel.
Yeah, it's just I think this is literally just a fancy redressing of the synthesizer, where you combine certain types of mods, and then if you get a certain threshold of like percents, they're gonna have either a guarantee or a percent chance to get like a new modifier. Like, it's the same thing as like you're getting on the items, I think, but just basically for your little robots. So on the items, I don't know if you saw, but you'll be able to do the same thing to items, and then you can get like explicit modifiers that we have not ever seen before on items. Like, for example, power charge explicits.
Yep.
So I mean, that was probably like them like, don't get your hopes up. This is probably gonna be like the onslaught boots or whatever. But that's basically they're just like honey dicking you with like a really really good mod.
100%. You ready to waste money trying to make that good mod a reality?
And I also have friends that they're gonna buy like 100x implicit synthesis rings to then put in there for a 33% chance to keep it and to get the power charge on top of that. And that's what's gonna happen for
you need to
straight softcore tryhards. Yeah, and they're probably gonna be spending like hundreds of exalts, because that's technically that's the new mirror tier.
They said influence. Do you think synth rings could actually go in there too?
Yeah.
Well, they have to. That's the only way.
Because you could also see that they shifted over a fractured modifier, which also means you could probably have more than one fractured modifier. And that fractured modifier is only present on ring males, whatever they're called.
The grasping males.
Yeah, so I mean, it's basically just like the little preview was basically just saying like, this is what you can do if you're like if you're ballsy, I guess, like, which is the whole point of that. It's just to show you that the possibility of these things is there, and then the rest is going to be up to the players to basically like read through the data mine to figure out how to actually make it work.
I'm gonna burn so much money.
Well, that's it. Think about min-maxing. Like, okay, for example, I can go through anywhere from 4 to 7 characters a league, and I get exhausted. But I love to min-max as much as I can each one of them for the very end game stuff. I'm going to take 300x and make nothing, but like try to make something. I'm so excited, especially for certain characters that only use like redeemer only rings, no double influences, to try to really get something stupid, right? Like that's going to be really fun, and I like that. I like it.
Yeah.
I definitely can't wait to see someone that gets the synth implicit stayed, that gets like a +1 implicit power charge ring that has a power charge on the thing.
Ooh.
It just has 2 power charges in a ring.
That would be amazing. Yeah, but do you guys think that this has the power to take influenced mods out of the respective influence pools? As in, like, you combine like 2 influenced items or 1 influenced and a non-influenced, and you end up with a non-influenced item that has an influenced mod?
They answered that.
They did answer that?
Q&A.
Specifically that question? All right. Because
it seemed to me like if it picks the base that doesn't have influence, then the influence modifiers are not selectable.
Because what I'm thinking is there's this astral plate that has spell suppression, which naturally an armor base can't roll spell suppression. So they must have combined like an evasion type base with an armor base and then get the mod and the base from the different sources, right? When recombining. So I was wondering whether that could also work with influenced mods. But
no. Just regular mods.
Must have like phased out during that part of the interview. Yeah, there was some moments where I commented on stuff and I turned down the volume real quick. So
there were so many things I missed the first time. I've watched it 3 times now.
Really?
There's just so many things. Period.
Yeah. It's
The
amazing.
I personally think, depending on what mods they put on, you very well could craft yourself something better than like an influence ringer. Or depending on just, I mean, how lucky you get, of course, right? As always, I gotta honestly say, I have never been more excited to see gear since Harvest League. Because Harvest took out the joy of looking at gear, because everybody's gear was perfect.
Mhm.
Oh, look at all your T1s. Oh, you got a bunch of elevated influence. I don't care, right? But this is so much chance. I'm so interested to see the kind of things that people actually come up with and make and I'm really intrigued.
Could be really good for sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, some of these could be insane mixed items that also have Eldritch implicits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
you
that,
could definitely do that.
like that chest that we were shown that had like 100% global on an astral plate with 31 suppression, which is insane because you
Like
can't get
what?
either of those on the base. Can then also get Eldritch implicits.
No, not that astral, because it was a fractured 100 global defenses.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
True.
but
That
let's
one
just
that one
say
was fractured.
it could still have the spell suppression, something else nutty, and then still put on Eldritch, because it's just a regular rare items are going to become more exciting than just looking at influence items now. Because normally you're like, a rare is my mid game, the influence is the end.
People are finally going to be able to link us items again that we're actually interested in looking at.
I know.
Because it's been a long time since people like link me items and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really good. Like
I know.
there's just an item, man. Like there's 70 other items like that got made today. Like you're not special. But now,
Wow, so hard.
now there's gonna be some bullshit.
I know. It's I'm just really excited to see, like, people. I know that a lot of people are worried, oh, the meta's going to stay the same. First of all, I didn't even get a chance to play the meta last league, so I'm kind of excited for that. Maybe I get a chance to be a meta cuck this time. I'm really looking forward to it. And second, think about all the new things you can add to that meta to make it better. Okay? This is the time before they nerf it all to hell. Goodbye, Omni. Next league. Goodbye.
I feel like people that say the meta is the same, whatever, probably played like one build. And
Right?
they just copy that off someone, so. The fact that
Exactly.
like saying the meta stale when people play like one build and they copied it, I feel like it's a little bit unfair.
It's very
There's
unfair.
like 10 meta builds. Pick a different one.
Not even just
Yeah.
10 metas. Like anything that's not S tier is considered trash, but like A tier
Yeah.
builds are really good. I don't see the issue with going with something slightly different. You know, it's not that bad. Like I have explosive concoction. I love that build. I absolutely love it. Not Omni, although it's very good with Omni. But yeah, like that's never been meta. I hope it doesn't go too meta because the prices. But you know, it's really like these are really fun. There's so many things you can do now.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed when people told me that that the audience in the official Path of Exile channel shut down the announcement and posted resident sleepers, and I've seen a lot of people on the Reddit being upset about the balance changes and about the league, and even on Twitter, like Quinn tweeted that I actually want to read that out real quick because it strikes a certain nerve. Like I had a similar thought. He said something along the lines of, yeah, exactly. So here, hey, so because all the content we're making, we don't have time to do a thorough rebalance. Okay, that's fine. Just tell people that. Wait, what if we pretend it's a feature of the expansion? Enjoy consistent character balance. So that's what I'm like. Also, I felt a little bit while I was watching that they're trying to sell me nothing as something. But outside of that, I'm like, I don't mind. Like they've been doing balance patches every league for years and years and years in a row. So let them, I give them the benefit of the doubt, or I let them give the benefit of the doubt and see what happens if they don't do balance changes once, right? And the meta stays the same. The balance state stays roughly the same. Because on the one hand, I agree with Chris, like there's so many new things between 3.17 and 3.18 that there's plenty of things to try out even without balance changes, and a lot of people skipped 3.17 because of other game releases, so it's not the worst. And then on the other hand, I also think that they have like a firm grip on what the balance state of the game is and what things are strong and why they're strong and what needs to change, but they're just holding back on the changes. So for once, instead of getting somewhat knee-jerked and like sometimes not super thought through changes, we'll see what happens to the meta if the balance stays the same for another 3 months, because there may still be shifts, depending on the requirements that the new content and the new endgame bosses have to the builds that you want to do with them, then that may still cause somewhat a shift of what is the best build. And then also, I'm just really looking forward to the big balance changes that they're probably going to do with 3.19 when they sat another 3 months on their notes where they would like, okay, this needs to change, but we're, reviewing it continuously and making adjustments as we go along. So I hope that like the next balance patch is really well cooked through and a lot of changes that make sense.
I'm not saying this is the case, but would anyone here actually be surprised if the literal like best build or best league start that could exist in this current patch isn't even popular right now and just no one knows about it?
I wouldn't be remotely surprised.
Like if there could be a guide that comes out next week and be like from some like random person who isn't even a content creator who was like, hey, I played this last league and it was better than all your builds, and we could all look at it and be like, oh no, it's so good, and none of us would be shocked, right?
No.
Yeah.
Like the idea of a stale meta after 3 months is ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous. Like what do you mean? We haven't even tried like half the stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like I was like for example, last league I was testing EA Ballista for like a month before the league went live, like trying to make the build actually not complete dog shit, because at first it was, and it was pretty shit, and people were like, oh, this is pretty shit, and then we made it not shit, and then all of a sudden it's like now I'm meta cuck because I decided to make a build and play it, and then people decided that they would make it and play it as well, so now I'm like, how dare you be such a meta cuck? It's like, bro,
how could you do this?
I was just trying to make a build for my league starter.
I know.
Don't know.
Mm-hmm. How could you make such a popular build and become a meta cuck? I can't believe this.
Toxic, but that's actually like how it works,
right?
Unfortunately, how it works. But that's exactly also goes towards saying that like somebody could just make a build and people think it's trash, and then he just changes the tree and it makes it good, and then it's insane.
Yeah.
Then people play it and it becomes meta.
That's literally the thing that's kept me in the game for 9 years, is the fact that there's always something to play, something to try. Like, no offense, Diablo, but you've got like 6 things to pick from, 5 things within those 6 things, and that's my life. All right. Like, this is just so much more interesting, and the things that you can do. I mean, I'm still waiting for somebody to come out there with a conversion trap that actually works for any reason whatsoever. But like until that time, why not?
Conversion trap was buffed this league.
No, wait. I mean,
just by nature of the rares being way more impactful and stronger.
That's true. That's which reminds me, I'm terrified of some of these rares. I'm actually I'm shaking in my boots about the certain rares I'm not prepared for.
You're right about the conversion trap, but like outside of that meme, there's also the actual non-meme build dumbbell.
No, that's a meme build. I'm sorry to tell you, that's a meme.
Valor, please.
No,
please defend dominating Plo. It's not a meme.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. I thought you were a fan of the build.
Well, yeah. But there's a What's the name of the new one? The spell one? Anyone?
Absolution.
Absolution.
Yeah, but
It's the same
Absolution
build,
doesn't get
except
rare
it's
mods.
Ranged and way better.
It doesn't get rare mods.
Yeah, but no matter how many rare mobs you give Dominating Blow, Absolution does like 8 times the damage from range at double the speed.
All right.
Dominating Blow just isn't
Don't
a thing
worry.
anymore.
They're just gonna get another 200% buff, and they're gonna be 600% more damage. And it's gonna be fine, guys. Okay,
Easy.
it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, so outside of the non-existing balance changes, there is a shit ton of Atlas endgame improvements. Any personal highlights from that section of the live reveal stream for you?
I can nerd out about this if you want for just a little bit.
Sure, I'll just say what my favorite is. And my favorite
for
is I can exclude Metamorph and Harvest from spawning, and I'll never have to stand still in my maps again and think about like items that I don't have or stuff.
Yep. This is huge for you as well, by the way. But you can completely cut out all mechanics, right? And it'll give you an 18% chance to spawn a specific mechanic. That's base chance. So that's 18% base chance, and you can get I think 20% base chance as well on top of that by taking all of the nodes from the mechanic that you do want. So then at that point I think it's 20 or like 10 or something like that. But all up, you're included with a keystone that gives you extra chance to spawn mechanic, and only that mechanic and no other mechanic appears. You'll be able to get 75% chance to spawn the mechanic that you do want. So you could actually just put Harvest on there. 75% of the time it's going to spawn in your map. And that's literally something that you can do with the mechanic that you do want. And I think one of the things, this is mechanically, I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work exactly the way it does, but mechanically, with the wording, it says that they don't have a chance to spawn, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't use scarabs to spawn them.
True, they don't have a
So-
natural spawn chance, but you can probably
Exactly.
still
You could force it.
Right. So, I mean, essentially what you could do is you could basically like force spawn a mechanic or have 75% chance to force spawn a mechanic, and then on top of that, use scarabs. So we'll have to see. But I mean, thinking about this for like League Start, there's certain mechanics that you can't spawn specifically without scarabs. So, with scarabs, so like Harvest, for example, and you'll just be
Mhm.
able to get like 75% chance to spawn a Harvest or Ritual, which is pretty insane.
That's absolutely nutty. That is. Can we just hands down say that the Atlas passive tree is the best thing they've ever made for us?
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
amazing.
I've actually wanted to play the game last weekend just because. Okay, like just because like it's near the end of the league. I've been playing for 3 months, and at the end I was like, what if I just do those logbooks I have on a weekend when I don't normally play the game that much? I have other games in my repertoire. I'm like, but I have those logbooks. It's like it's been so enjoyable, and I am truly very curious about. You can't even use fragments or scarabs. Just get extra packs and go, because sometimes I want to be that brain dead. Like I'm just so sick of. I need these scarabs. I need to get.
By the way, that was the mistake. I looked it up in the patch notes. That was every time you used fragments or scarabs in the map device, it would deselect the map device mod on the next map. So if you
that
weren't
literally
running
makes
those,
sense.
then you could have just even been faster.
I could have just. That sounds so good. And like, what is the pack size amount is really, really nice down here for the times where I'm like, I just want to shut off my brain. I'm just gonna go. You know what I mean? I'm so, and that doesn't include like, oh, I put delirium on this, and now I'm not gonna put in any other scarabs, and I'm just gonna up the pack size by like a month. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm really interested in how this is. This sounds really nice for my smooth brain. It sounds good, except I'll still forget sextants.
Well, yeah, there's no benefit to forgetting sextants still. Scarabs, I mean.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that's it. It's
yeah,
just,
I also
there's
always
so
forget
much.
the stupid what's the name even? Sextants. Wow.
Sextants.
I
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
forgot sextants. What I wanted to say quickly is I just counted, and the nodes that exclude specific encounters, or the chance for specific encounters, more notably, because like you correctly pointed out, you can still force the spawn with scarabs. There's the ones that give you no chance for specific encounters, but give a bump to the chance of other extra content. Extra content, there is 15 different things that count as extra content. There's a list down here. I'm not going to read them all out because it's too much. But that means if you select 5 of these nodes, right, then you have a 5 times 2% chance to contain other extra content on 10 types of extra content, which means 20% chance. 10% chance times 10, kind of. See, what I'm trying to argue is, people told me yesterday that Delirium is dead, because previously how Delirium worked in maps is the more extra content you shove onto your maps, with scarabs and with map device and all that stuff, the more likely it was that you'd get a Delirium mirror, right? There was something like an 8% base chance for a Delirium mirror, and the more extra content you shoved onto your map, the higher that chance got. And they removed that. And people were telling me, well, Delirium is dead. You're not going to get Delirium now anymore. Right. But what I'm trying to argue is if you exclude enough leak mechanics, then you get a huge extra chance for Delirium mirrors.
And it's on the map device. How's it dead?
It is.
Yeah.
But also, I have been juicing my maps out the wazoo for the past 2 months, and I have not found... How many Delirium mirrors are people finding? Like 800? What?
Well, he's sextant, so it's guaranteed.
Well, that's right. If you sextant it, you're good, right?
I just put orbs on all my maps.
Yeah, orbs work as well.
I'm just an orb person.
Yeah. Wow.
But don't you get more splinters from like the mirrors?
Man, I don't even show splinters on my filter.
I heard they're a good sale early on in the league.
Yeah. They are.
Oh yeah, early on, of course, because people are looking for many things that come from simulacrums.
Just if you pick up single stacks, your map takes so much longer, and I just don't want to, so I just hide them.
Yeah, they still drop in stacks outside of like Alvas and stuff.
Yeah, I still walk out of maps with like 80 of them.
That's exactly why I run the mirror, though. I don't like looting in Deli Orbs.
Yeah.
And the mirror is like a lot of fun because it's also like it's like a little challenge in a way.
Yeah, that's what I like about it versus the Delirium Orbs, which are just, guaranteed extra loot and some extra monsters. But the mirrors are like, hey, am I going to push this to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6?
Literally, push it to the limit comes on in my head every time I hit that mirror. Like, go, go, go! I gotta run, kill everything fast. Is that Alpha? Excellent. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. My brain is in references and push it to the limit literally every time a Delirium mirror happens.
Yeah. And I can't wait to fucking kick smugglers' caches off my maps because those fuckers never drop blueprints. And I'm so ready for
just spec into it. Just take
that's what I did, and I didn't get any. That's why I was so upset about it.
Reveal blueprints or blueprints in general?
Yeah, what blueprints?
No, just blueprints. Like, contracts I got a lot, but like blueprints was really rough early on in this FHC, this league.
Yeah.
And I really wanted it.
Like how many you drop and stuff. So that's, I can imagine where you like, because like HC you can't really put that much quant on your maps, right? So.
Do they scale with quant? I was under the impression that the extra drops from the smugglers.
No, not the cash, but they're just like a currency drop. Like, so they will drop randomly from monsters and whatnot. So if you have like
contracts, yes, but blueprints really rarely. But yeah,
really,
I got a blueprint once in a contract actually, and I was like, "What the fuck? I've not seen this before."
In a contract, yeah.
How many blueprints do you think you see on the floor a day?
I'd probably be getting one every 2 maps.
Yeah, about every second map. I'd agree with that.
Every other map?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Play softcore with us, friend.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, our one map has as many mobs as about 25 of your maps.
That's true.
Fair enough, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I was talking
Things
about
can
that
change
like
fast.
early mapping stage, right? Like before you breach into red maps and before you put all your juice on, because the fuck is
Yeah.
that problem?
I think I did like a alt can go test as well. I probably have like the spreadsheet still of me going for like smuggler's cache and then using the sextant. So I could maybe see if I have it here.
You actually went for that?
Yeah, I mean, because I generally just test like all these mechanics,
Yeah.
because otherwise I get like really bored of like doing the
Mhm.
same thing, because it's like, oh yeah, I could make all this currency doing this one thing, but
Yeah.
I want to try like stuff. So let me see here actually. I'm just gonna like phase out for a sec while I look for this.
I swear I can hear people yelling in the background. You hear that?
Yeah,
I heard
rowdy
something.
Italians.
Yeah.
Like, hello?
No, they're probably just saying some bullshit.
Kikatsu Fai.
Yeah, good. Yeah, just like Italians are so loud. They're so
Nice.
loud.
Oh man, I cannot. I just want to start playing right now.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much.
Right now.
It's so interesting. The new thing they showed, maps found cannot be your favorite maps and have a 1% chance to have a special implicit. Now, 1% chance isn't much, but I have greatly enjoyed buying those, like, contains rituals, contains extra ambush or chests or whatever. I love those, like,
12%
absolutely.
though.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me, and it sounds like I can get rid of a lot of maps I hate. Like, I am the kind of person who cannot target farm because I get bored after like 3 maps. I have to change it to a different map. I have to do something different all the time. And this is like this would be
Getting rid of the
perfect.
12 worst maps though. That's a thing. Like,
exactly. And then you just get all these other good maps to do. Right?
how many versions of cells can I get rid of?
So many dungeons, academy. What else we got in there? So many bad maps. Lava chambers. Get it out of here. Is that in there? I don't even know.
There's also the
Yeah, I don't
opposite,
know.
where nothing but your favorite map drops.
That's true. That's
And
really
they
true.
just become currency, the ones that are supposed
I'm not
to
going
be.
to lie.
That
I'm
was
really
really
looking forward to just not having maps drop at all. I'll just buy my maps.
Fair enough.
You're just
Yeah,
not
just
Buy
favorite
100
maps.
maps at a time. I'm going to take the notable that says all your non-favorite maps turn into currency. I'm just not going to have a favorite map.
Huh. That's actually clever, yeah.
And I'm just going to buy maps in like bulk. I'll just
What?
buy 100 maps.
I was
And
wondering
then
what
I'll
Bro,
just
we
pick up
tried.
currency.
Imagine you spec into all of the map nodes with that. What happens then?
Oh yeah. And you use cartography scarabs, gilded cartography scarabs, but no
Yeah,
favorite
yeah,
maps.
Exactly. That's what,
It's just
that's what I was
currency,
thinking
man.
about. Yeah.
That sounds incredibly good.
Dude, I
That's
never
cool.
even thought about the gilded cartographies and I never use turning into currency. And the one where I can turn my shit torment scarabs into a different type of scarab. Anything's got to be better than those terrible torment scarabs, dude. I'm ready.
Anyways, I got the stats here. In 48 maps, I dropped
yeah.
17 blueprints, and then
really
2 of
good.
them were fully revealed.
Only 2?
Yeah, but fully revealed blueprints are so rare.
But they're really expensive too to actually
Yeah,
fully
they're like
reveal.
1 to 2x, depending on what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I mean,
17 and 48 maps, I think is pretty good. And this is just from the Smuggler's Cache. But I
really
spec'd into
good.
all of the Smuggler's Cache things. And I also had the Sexton, which guaranteed the Smuggler's Cache, so. But now that you'll be able to get like a 70% chance to get a cache, I think, that's fairly good.
Yeah, that sounds really good. No more worrying about blueprints, maybe. No more worrying about so much. You know how many things I'm sick of seeing on the. Sometimes I just don't want to do a Legion, right? And then it's there, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to hit that, right? I don't want to spend the time, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to. oh, it's gonna be nice. Just get rid of that.
So, alongside the keystone passes that change the mapping thing itself, there's also like one keystone passive for every one of the new endgame pinnacle bosses. We get like uber versions of the highest bosses that we had in Path of Exile, you guys actually expect that was going to happen? Because I've heard people express that, and most notably Zizaran was like very not so optimistic about it when he complained that last league the bosses were a little bit of a letdown, and I feel like he's super happy now that we get so many new endgame aspirational bosses.
Premonize that bad boy. Bex asked, and I premonized it.
I feel like no one expected it this quick, though.
I expected
I literally premonized it, bro.
I expected Sirius sooner.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
actually,
fair. Actually, yeah.
See,
yeah.
I even sent Bex this, and just Cirrus for fun is what I said, because I didn't expect them to do Cirrus. I thought that was going to be the joke.
And it looks like, have you seen that there's like storms in the middle of the arena now?
Yeah, I'm
and
really.
the crooked beams is now a feature or some shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Cirrus
no.
has crooked beams as a feature beams.
What if they take like all of the bugs that had happened and just put them in as like features? You know, like the invisible laser that would come out the side of Cirrus?
Yeah. The one that come out of
Oh yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. All right, quick question. I'm not a bosser. I'm bad at these things. I do juiced maps. My second character, I'm going to have to make the most Pepega-proof bosser. Like, I'm looking for things. I'm looking around. This is all I've been looking for since the announcement. I'm looking around for builds that I could get up for in the middle of a 90% quant feared and go make a coffee and just let them all beat on me and nothing would happen. That's the kind of build I'm looking for.
You're looking for a ward looper who can stand there AFK in a 30 simi.
You're looking for a 500 X plus build.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that's not a problem for him. Yeah.
The price is irrelevant. I'm looking for something so good it will work despite me being the pilot.
You're honestly ward looper or RF with mage blood, but even that can die more than a ward looper. Ward looper can literally stay there AFK in a 30 simi.
I mean, seismic trap is like gonna cost you nothing, and it's pretty good. So
that's true.
Like, yeah, you have to walk around in circles, but that's it, man.
But is it Pepega proof from Balor?
I mean,
yeah, no.
I think it's
like,
good.
Look, okay, I can play it, but I'm really looking for something like Pepega Pro. I'm not memeing when I say I want to be able to get up during the boss fight and go and make a coffee. Like, that's the build I'm looking for. And I don't care if it costs me 500 or 5,000 exalts. Whatever the price is of the build that does that, I will make that amount of money. But I want it. I don't know what the build is yet, but I want that. Whatever that is. Yeah, it might be that.
It is like actual AFK for real legitimate AFK. That's the one. It like literally infinite ward that keeps you alive. Like, it's kind of stupid. I don't fully know how it works because I've never played it yet. But this league, maybe I can because nothing got nerfed.
I want to shatter that reality just a little bit in saying that it has 0 physical damage mitigation, and its HP pool is not that big, so it's not reliant. It's not like it still can get one shot. It's really good in simulacrums because generally, so long as there isn't like a huge hit, which happens sometimes, like if you get like a big hit from Omni or something like that with like a lot of like gain is extra, then it's gonna one shot you. Like, I think people tend to record their best runs, but not their worst.
Yeah.
So it can always be like a little bit deceptive. But me just looking at a character that has 0 physical damage reduction is instantly a red flag, in my opinion, just because it literally can't have physical damage mitigation, because otherwise then the ward loop wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It just means that it's got its weaknesses.
You might get bad simi mods that would kill you, for example, right?
Or like a Shaper Slam could even get you there, for example, because it's like
probably
physical and converted as well, or just any physical damage you're very likely to die to, basically.
Yeah. So an RF with Mage Blood is your second best AFK, your brain.
Probably, yeah.
I think whatever answer I go with, it'll almost always be Block Cap Aegis Aurora, right? Like, that's I'm pretty sure Block Cap Aegis Aurora is like the ticket to making it.
It's pretty good, yeah.
You got that battle pass, right? For that sick ass Aegis Aurora.
Oh, that one's sick.
I did.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it does look good. Okay, you talk all the shit you want about battle passes. You wear an Aegis Aurora, you're like, I want that actually. Like just that little thing every time you see you block it, like you're like, good.
I have a question, and that is, how do you guys feel about the fact that it's great that we get these Uber bosses, but how do you guys feel about the fact that they're easily accessible by just selecting a keystone passive on your Atlas passive tree, rather than having to farm towards it to have like some own kind of fragments or token that you would need to expend in order to gain access to these more challenging, more rewarding boss fights? Because in my opinion, or from my point of view, I don't see a reason why people would then still run the normal versions of the boss fights.
Because they can't do the Ubers.
Because they can't do the Ubers, yeah, but then they would just sell the tokens to someone who can. That's
pretty bad.
concern.
It's a really
They
bad
can't
thing.
sell them. Pretty bad?
We can't sell them.
I think it's like for example, just a quick example. I always thought when they talked about aspirational content that it was going to be separate to the current content. For example, simulacrums. And now it's not worth buying simulacrums anymore unless you can go to wave 25 plus, right? So the price of entering the content is always going to be dictated by the people that can actually run the content to its highest degree. So if you're a person that can't run it, or can't get the most out of it, then it's never going to be worth it for you to run it. And this is strictly just a supply and demand thing, like with people willing to pay more for it because the rewards are gonna obviously bump up the price, and the price is gonna be dictated by people that run it or groups. So this is just the plague of Trade League, unfortunately. But on SSF, you're gonna be able to do whatever you want. You're immune to these things.
There's a solution. We've done the solution before 100 times, but if they do it the way they always do that solution, there'd be a different set of people complaining, right? Like killing Cirrus could just give Uber Cirrus fragments.
I mean, that's a better solution, though.
Fragments.
I know that people would meme and be mad, and they'd be like, "Oh, more fragments! Oh, I need 16 more fragments in my map." I know, but like that's how you let people do the content, and then that's how you let like average Joe who's trying to learn how to do these bosses still be able to do them without economically shooting himself in the foot.
Well,
Exactly.
you
can't just jump into the Uber one.
Well, no,
So
you can do
just-
a bunch of the regular, and then jump into the Uber with a click of a button.
But in a trade league, you're just throwing your money away now. Like imagine if
in a
Uber
trade league, you're throwing your money away anyways when you
imagine
can't
if
do
Uber
it.
Aziri
and you
and
think you
Aziri were
can.
the same one, right? Imagine if they were the same.
But they're not the
fragments.
same. They're not the same because you're literally clicking a button to make it harder, and then you can keep that button off to make it not as hard for when you're not ready.
But then also not rewarding. If you can't,
It is
click that
rewarding though.
button-
What do you mean? I got a domination orb and a awoke orb and some gloves that I sold for 10x off of a regular Cirrus. And
But it's all
let me also
comparable,
say,
right?
let me just say, have you ran the Shaper fight lately, dude? Have you done that and then got yourself 10 bottom fragments and no top fragments? Like, F that, dude. I ain't doing that shit no more if I don't have to, okay?
Yeah, it shouldn't be
Because that
fragments.
sucks.
Oh, but
It
that's
should be like
because
maybe
there's
one every
harvest
4.
craft.
It drops
One
a
out of-
key, right?
Well, that would be nice if they made it a little more balanced. But at this point, it's like I'm getting constant bottom pieces, no top pieces. Top
Yeah.
pieces are 90 chaos because nobody wants to do Shaper because nobody wants to kill 4 bosses and go through 2 random phases, right? Like that all
Also-
sucks.
But also the thing is that I think that system is better in itself because people do kill Shaper because it's worth doing it. But at the moment, if you do make a toggle that, like for example, even if you're like one of the first people in Trade League that plays like solo, and you're able to enter these bosses, it won't really matter because a group will be before you. So and they'll be able to extract more value out of it faster. So by the time that you get there, or anyone gets there that's not funded by a group or playing with a group, you're just going to be at a disadvantage, and the price is going to be dictated by them who can run it efficiently.
So
You're always at a disadvantage in that way unless you're with a group or whatever, because they're just so fast.
okay, so
You know?
group or no group though. Let's like this is like the really simple version of how it works. Let's just say you do. I'm going to pick numbers out of the air because I don't actually know what the numbers are, but they're just example numbers, right?
All right.
So let's just say over the course of running 1,000 Cirruses, you expect to make a 2x profit per run.
Why?
Right? And we're just like on average, just say that's the number that you would expect out of Cirrus right now. I don't know what the actual number is, but let's just say it is.
Okay.
The Uber version is going to pay you 4.5x per run, and they're the same fragments to get in. So the fragment price is now dictated by the 4.5x per run price.
But we
That's
know
the
that's
profit,
not
which means
true.
you're now running at a loss if you run the non-upgraded version.
Not necessarily, especially because we don't know. Like, you might get better stuff, but let me tell you how many spirits I ran without buff kiss at the end. Okay, so like I don't know what to
but
tell
that only
you.
matters if you're running like 1 to 3 of them. Sure, you're relying on RNG. If you're a boss runner,
I am.
you're running 6 of them an hour
I
for
am.
3 weeks.
I
Then
ran
you do averages.
What if I told
Right.
you that in average I make less money from Cortex than possibly even the money I spend in Cortex? Therefore, Cortex isn't worth it, and not really the fear it is either, except for the odd times that it is.
Cortex
Because
definitely
I
is
do run
worth it, though.
bosses.
Like,
Cortex
statistically.
is super worth. Made a ton of money out of
Cortex
Cortex.
can be worth it if you get really good fractured mods and stuff, but yeah, let me tell you the amount of nebuluses and gloves I've gotten without anything else in the map. Oh, unless we're talking about those 200 chisels. All right, those 200 chisels really funded me for a while, but I mean
the best
anything
thing
else,
about 200 chisels is you don't have to trade for them anytime soon.
right? Like, okay, I'll admit the 200 chisels and sometimes like the other random things that you get are good, but like when it comes to if you don't get good fractured mods and at the end of the Cortex you just get some gloves, then more often than not I'm running at a 1.5x loss every Cortex I run until I get that one golden item worth 10x to make it all worth it. So
But that's what the averages are, though.
well, then
like
think
any-
about what the averages could be on an Uba fight or what you're doing then, right? Like, I don't think the
Right.
average is as big as you're saying, thinking that you, like, even if a hypothetical number saying, like, you're going to make 4x off of this Uba Cirrus, I'm saying you're probably going to get bupkis off this Uba Cirrus and be mad about it, but at the same time, the chance it could be better. Could be better.
That's not how math works. I don't know what to say.
That's the way the
just
game works, though, baby.
No,
Okay.
it's not,
As
though.
As a bosser, I can tell you that I've run the amount of Cirruses that I've run within. I don't write this stuff down on the spreadsheet. I purely go off of what I can remember doing. In the 40 Cirruses that I've run this league, I have been more of a net loss than a profit.
Like, it's
Period.
exactly the same rules as running juiced maps, though. Like, I can invest 2x into a map, and if I only do it once, I can walk out of that map.
It's not about
with
doing
less
it
than
once,
half an
though.
X.
No.
right?
It's not about that. You have 40 Cirruses, you run them back to back, and you look at how much that 40 Cirrus costs per how much you actually get back from those, and it's not often enough.
Then
Well, you
that's
also have to
that's
factor
about
in that you
half a
could have been
day.
doing.
Then you could have spent your time in other places, and I'm just
Exactly.
saying that exactly, and actually in some cases doing juice maps in your case is actually way better than doing bosses because you have less risk in drop chances there compared to just I'm going to put on 200 quant, just go wild, you know what I mean? So it's just it highly, I'm just saying it's very RNG based. You can try to look at like what probability this, probability that, but at the end of the day, what's your luck actually like? Right? Because it doesn't really matter when your luck is shit.
What your luck's actually like, though, only matters when you only do 100 of something.
Yeah,
When
I
you
don't
do
really believe in luck
400 of
or
it a
any
day
event.
for a month, there is no luck anymore. You're now playing the actual odds. You get the
Exactly.
actual drop rates, right?
Yeah, I'm playing the odds, but the odds are still bad.
It's just a
And
law of
often
numbers.
aren't as rewarding.
It ends up evening out in the end.
Yeah.
It depends.
And-
That's what I'm saying. It's just it's more. I don't think it's that much like this is going to be instantly more profitable right away because the amount that you can do it and not get profit is really high. Although for the Flesh and Flames, Yeah, it's probably going to be pretty profitable, dude, if you can
Yeah,
do a juicy
so
collective flame.
my point is that the entry cost of these bossing fights is now relevant to the Uber version's reward. So doing the regular version now is just not going to be financially worth it. Everybody will still probably want to do it once to unlock their device, but if you can't do the Uber version, you are not a boss farmer, or you will just be shitting money away for no reason. You're literally just pouring money down the drain.
Well, to a certain
From
degree.
a financial standpoint, you should not be doing those.
You should be looking at your game like you're some sort of financial advisor here, looking like, oh, if I'm not doing this to maximize my currency here, then I'm not doing good enough, and that's bullshit. Like, you know what I mean?
No, that's
You're
the
just
only way
gonna
I play
do
the
it to
game.
have
What?
fun, bro. Where's your fun, my dude? Okay.
My
Where's
fun
the
is
fun?
directly related to what my currency stack tab looks like.
No,
The
but, like,
more exalts there are in that stack, the more fun I'm having.
Proportional correlation.
Well, what if you want to then spend 300x? Now you're down to 20x, and now you're fun. Did you not just have fun with the 300 you spent, or whatever?
Yeah,
Like,
and now I have to make 300 more because
Like,
that's fun.
You would enjoy doing the boss, right? Sure, like the first or second time, you're like, cool. Like, I never put a price to the content that I drop. I'm like, okay, I'll run it. You know, whatever. It's content anyways. It's something I enjoy
Yeah.
doing. But at the end of the day, when the price is dictated by people who are actually doing the harder content, you're going in there already with a lose condition. Like, it's
Probably.
literally like you're signing up to lose, and in the long run, that does not feel good, and that also diminishes the enjoyment that people can extract out of the game at a lower level, right? Because it doesn't matter whether like you per se don't like running Shaper. Someone that thinks to themselves, I make 40 chaos every Shaper run, I'm a pleb, I'm gonna do this for 3 days and then I can afford the item I want. That's basically a door to enter other content for certain people that do not have like per se maybe the expertise or the creativity to try certain types of content. So when you do eventually put a price to something, like the price is dictated by people who are doing the higher level of that content that was previously accessible by everyone, but is now only accessible by people with extremely expensive builds. It's basically just widening the gap between like the Normans and the complete degenerates, and it's just literally that simple.
Yeah, I feel like that was the point I was getting at with the question, and that's what I feel like we needed to discuss. Not to get stuck in this topic for too long, but there's 2 things I wanted to mention real quickly. I think it really depends on how hard those boss fights are, because we don't know. We have no idea, but Chris said that they're insanely hard and only very few people are going to be able to complete them. And so the question is, in the first, say, 2 to 4 weeks of the league, how many people will reach that state of when they can actually reliably and reasonably fast farm those Uber versions of the bosses? Like, how many people are there, and how long does it take them to farm each boss? Because if they're not consuming a meaningful share of the tokens that grant access to the bosses, then it's not an issue, right? It's only an issue
when
when
getting farmed, guaranteed.
But again, like, this goes back to like, I love the fact that there's harder versions of the bosses and everything like that. But the problem just lies in the fact that it's a keystone on your tree rather than it being something that is applied. Like, it could be maybe that like if you run the normal boss, then you drop a currency that enhances the key to enter the Uber version of it, right?
No, but where's
And
the difference versus having like an enhanced key drop right from the start?
That's pretty much the same, right? Exactly. Like, you can have an enhanced key or anything like that, but the fact that it's on your Atlas passive tree and then the same thing accesses the harder version of it means that you're just not likely going to be running it, because the opportunity cost of you running that is relative to people that can actually run the harder version.
Okay, and then there's another factor. Wait, let me quickly.
I just don't care about opportunity cost for anything. All right, I just play to have fun, and I save up my own stuff, and then I run my own stuff, and then like I do the risk versus reward because I'm having fun. And I don't actually care about how much Exalt I'm making per hour to be worth risk versus I see things. I have 15 Maven invitations I could have been selling for Exalts or 60C early in the league, or what. I just kept that shit for myself. I still have them just because I like to keep that for myself. I think a lot of people play this way. I don't think they're looking at the numbers and crunching them and being like, well, shit, I could sell this right now for 2x, or I can keep it and run it and potentially get 3. I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I just got this, I'm going to run it.
I agree
That's
with you. I see that perspective, but even the people who play like that will still have goals in their build that will be expensive, that they want to work towards. And when the question comes up, when you're like, okay, how am I going to fund my next upgrade that costs 40x? What is the content that I'm going to chain farm that realistically gets me there? Then doing those bosses is disqualified over selling those bosses. That's the point that Tuna
how many
and
people
Valor
are chain farming to how many people are actually just playing the game and having fun and doing what I do, where you're so ADHD you can't play a map for 3 times over before you have to switch maps.
People are flipping between the two. People are having fun playing the game, but people are also like, switching into serious mode when they feel like they need to make currency, when they feel like they're not going to get their goals by just dicking around whatever they think is fun.
Also, in my case, I just end up selling off my dragon hoard that I've been keeping the entire time because I have a huge hoard of stuff I never sell. I'm a hoarder.
There's the thing about I think that you're completely right about you having fun in your own way about not caring about that sort of stuff, and that's sort of you're playing SSF within Trade League, which is fine, but most people really enjoy the trade aspect to Trade League, and that is something that I really really enjoy as well. Is the fun for a lot of it is also min-maxing. It's an RPG. That's essentially what really entices me to find the best strategy to, or the most how do I squeeze the most value out of my time? And I think there's a lot of value and a lot of fun in doing that. And
well, that's why I play trade among I like to kind of SSF. I like to play trade when I need something I can't find. I'd love to buy stuff a shitload of maps to craft it. But generally I still make probably not as much money as you or Balor or something. I probably make maybe even 600 results less than you guys. But I can fund all my builds. And I can still have all everything I want to do. I'm not saying that I'm the average player. I just think that there are a lot of people that still think this way. And I think if anything, in the sense of fragments, it's going to bring up the price of fragments, and that's just going to be good for the people who like to sell. People who don't like to sell, like me, who like to keep them forever. It's just going to be oh, good content for later. I think it's a really mixed. It's probably going to be fine.
But what about the people that can't afford to run, but want
I have
to run
the answer.
Okay, let
I have
Balor
the better way
elaborate.
So the reason I think this is a problem, one, you're 100% right. Playing for fun is the only way people should ever play, right? The thing is, I can't give anyone advice on what is fun for them. Fun is subjective. No. I can only give you economical advice because I know what's right by the numbers. But you should always do what's fun more than what's right by the numbers 100% of the time, right? Here's the thing, though. This never needed to be an option. So we have now a problem where you have to ignore the correct economic thing and essentially flush your money down the toilet in order to have fun. But that didn't need to be a thing. This isn't like an either-or thing. It never needed to be an option. If you don't like fragments, splinters like Maven is maybe even a better solution, right? Because it could have been just 2 or 3 splinters. So you run a Cirrus, you get half of an Uber Cirrus. You run another Cirrus, you get the other half of an Uber Cirrus guaranteed. And then if you're not powerful enough to do Uber Cirrus, you can get rid of that, but you haven't paid the opportunity cost of doing Uber Cirrus by doing the regular one.
Why don't I just sell my Cirrus for the same price as the now new Uber Cirrus is going to cost, because that's what's going to happen.
Well, what if you wanted to run it? That's the issue.
Then you run it for fun. For the fun. You guys
It's even worse. If you think about it, it's even worse in SSF, because in SSF...
then you might not get anything.
Well, it's not about not getting anything. It's that you have to wait until you have a stronger build to run the Uber versions, because it's a lot less likely for you to get these invitations as to someone that can actually just spam buy them in Trade League, or do something else and then buy them. So then you're actually if you run it before the Uber version, you're oh, but I'm getting the shitty loot version when I could just actually just re-gear a seismic trapper and do the Uber version.
Do you think that the loot is really going to be garbage from the base version? Because like,
Well,
if no one
comparatively,
runs,
yeah.
if everyone runs the Uber versions and no one runs the base versions, then the base versions will have like items that are really sought after and sort of rare. That will balance itself
No.
out.
The
I'd
Uber
like
version drops the base plus
Yeah.
more.
Oh, the Uber version. Okay, I thought they had separate
Yeah.
drop pools like at Zeri.
No.
Because I was going to offer this as a thought experiment. I was going to be like, imagine that you could access Uber at Zeri with the regular fragments, but you just spec into a passive point on your Atlas passive tree, and then the regular sacrifice fragments open the Uber fight instead of the regular fight.
Yeah, if
Would
they
that
offer
be
different
bad?
rewards, then it would make more sense because then there would be like value for each different reward, obviously.
Okay, I was under the impression that at least some rewards would remain exclusive.
There's just extra rewards.
It's just better, yeah. It's just better in every way.
That's just straight up better in every way. Yeah, then it doesn't work like that.
It's literally the same thing as simulacrums. If you can't run 25 simulacrum plus, you sell it, even if you want to run it.
This is what's happening. This is the analogy for what's happening. Oh, this is one of those ones where comments are going to sacrifice me. That's fine. Don't worry about it. This is what's happening, right? Okay. This is what's happening. Vel's saying the equivalent of, I really enjoy riding this push bike to work. This is what I want to do. I don't need a car. Work's not that far away and I enjoy cycling. This is fun for me. And I've gone, okay, but no matter what mode of transport you pick, it's going to cost you $1,000 a month. Now,
Why would it cost me $1,000?
And this is a push bike, and you get to take either one of them for $1,000 a month. And you're going, but I enjoy the push bike, so I'm going to take it.
That's a bad analogy. That doesn't work. Your push bike is free.
It.
No, your push bike is completely free, and it helps the environment.
No, it comes at the same. It comes at the
no,
same price as
no,
the Tesla.
a month.
The analogy part.
A month, a push bike? No, the analogy doesn't work like that. That's not even a realistic analogy. You'd have to do like a Tesla versus a Nissan hybrid bullshit. All right, that's what you'd have to do. And the Nissan's clearly the shit one because you can't play a game in it like the Tesla. All right, like obviously.
Wait, hang on. You can play games in Teslas?
Yeah, you didn't know that? You could legitimately play Skyrim in Tesla.
What the hell? Now I want a Tesla. That wasn't the point of this conversation. Now I want a Tesla. What the fuck?
No, Bella, you're not getting a Tesla. You're just going to get into an accident because you're not paying attention to traffic.
I'm not getting a Tesla.
Can't even afford a push bike.
I'm not saying Nissans are bad. Okay, I'm just saying, like, you know, the Tesla you can play a game in. Nissan doesn't have that yet. I don't even know if the Nissans make hybrids. I don't have a car. Okay, I'm the type that would take the push bike because I live in a city and everything's close. But if I didn't, then I'd have to consider the car.
It's a very extreme analogy to compare those two, but it's an accurate one because I'm saying the cost of both for you in this instance would be the same, but one of them is clearly better.
No, I picked a luxury car over the not as luxury car compared to a push bike there. But either way, that's just an analogy. I understand what you mean, but I just think when it comes to playing a game, people aren't putting that, like, not everybody is min-maxing their economy in the game every league. I think there are a lot of people that don't necessarily do that. And I think that they will indeed still sell their fragments at probably a higher rate just because the Ubers are going to drop more and the people that love to Uber farm are going to be like, hell yeah, I'll buy those. Right, because they can afford it.
But
so
who
I
doesn't
think
want
that
to do the big dick content? I'm confused.
Well, maybe they can't. Okay, I've known people who are like, "It's my first time getting to Act 7," and I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, but that's the issue. It's like, but they want to do it, but they can't.
They want to, but they can't, and that's okay. Then they can sell their stuff.
And then the game's like, "Well, little buddy, you know, you suck ass."
But that's
so
everybody who wants a
sell
headhunter.
This is gonna like give you like more like you're literally gonna it's like I don't know, man. I think it's trash. I think it's a garbage system. It could have been so mitigated by the fact that it's just like, oh, it's a different key. That's it.
Yeah.
Like it's a different key, and then you get in there and you sell that different key, and then these degenerates can do whatever the fuck they want, and then little Timmy can still have his fun and still make currency.
It aligns with Chris' philosophy as well. That's why I'm so confused, because Chris like went the extra mile on the Q&A and busted out that old story where he was like, well, the highest content shouldn't be free to access because we did that with the Maelstrom of Chaos back in the day, and people would just run the hardest content and would just die and quit the game. And we realized that there needed to be a cost attached to content, and now there is no cost attached to these pinnacle bosses. You just upgrade them basically for free by just getting the keystone and turning him into the Uber versions.
But there is a cost, and the cost is like, it's basically taxing people that can't run it. That's the issue. It's taxing their fun out of the game, like, because it's like now they can't do it because the people that can do it.
Well, I'm worried in the same way that you are, but like I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt and see how it works out this league. I mean, I'm not saying you aren't willing, but like I definitely see the problems with this, but I don't want to spend too much time on this talking point. And
I'll tell you what the cost is: an orb of unmaking. Okay, when you fail it, you're like, ah, shit, I gotta get that right out of here.
And the price of the set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the price of the set, which will go up. So at least you'll make some money, and you want to keep it, do it.
I do see, though, that there's like a positive side to it. It's like easy to access an SSF, or easy. Anyone could just, have the normal set and then just upgrade and get into the Uber content. Anyone could just buy a normal set and do that. And maybe that's the point. Maybe they want it to be very, very accessible the first time that they release it. And if it's problematic, then who knows? They might change it somewhere down the road. I'm almost certain that GGG doesn't keep shit systems in the game intentionally. And they're slowly but surely trying to change things.
Yeah, I think there's more of an experiment.
I gotta say, I think it's because people are like, we don't want any more fragments, we don't want any more splinters, we're sick of picking shit up. Stop giving us stuff to pick up. This was an expedition. They were real big mad about it. Okay. Everything was very big mad. And I think they really took that to heart because they had a bunch of that's the time that they had the podcast rounds.
I'm not really so sure about that.
Really?
Because I think like they're always doing whatever they want, and I think that's what they should be doing. But they're always like you look at last week, we had to pick up that stuff, and they didn't even give us more inventory space for that shit.
Well, they gave us more than they originally intended. They said they intended a 5x5.
Right.
It was still like a quarter of what we needed to make it functional.
True.
I think they really stand by what they believe in, and I think that's important.
I feel there's so many developments, so many things that they've added to the game that like directly are direct response to what you guys brought up in the podcast with Gazi and Grim when you were talking to Chris, where you were saying like the game needs this, the game needs that, aspirational content, and
it's not that they're not willing to change their minds on things.
Yeah.
It's that they will stick to their guns unless you convince them. They don't change their opinion or change the way it works just because of pushback. They need to actually get given good arguments, and then they discuss that, and then if they change their mind and they agree with the points that have been put forward, they'll make changes. They're not afraid to change up how things work, but they don't just do it because we say or because people get upset.
They stick to their vision, but I think this one is something that they really like. This, not just this, they've really like in that 3 podcast scenario, they really took in a lot of things to heart, because we saw it in the very next league. We saw it in the Atlas change from 8 regions to 4 midway through a league, so I think that, which was really nice. I gotta say, really surprising that they just gave us that. But yeah, they have, I think that they're probably, I actually just overall wonder how much our playstyle sticks with their vision. Because I've always known them. Like, whenever people are worried about something GGG does, I'm like, they're just sticking to their vision. And I'm good with it. Whatever it is, like, I'm just going to roll with it, right?
But, for example, you guys were asking for aspirational content in various forms, and we got so much aspirational content, like the Ravaged Blight maps, now the Pinnacle bosses, like all that extra Uber tier content. And I feel like there's so much more top end in Path of Exile than it was back then when you brought those things up. And in a similar way, I really appreciate that they leaned into this interaction with the streamers and community racers, like the winners of the last boss race, where like the unique items that they did get to design as a prize for winning the race are now the rewards of the new Uber Pinnacle content.
Mm.
And that Uber Pinnacle content will be the goal of another League Start race. And people who win those are again going to be able to design uniques that stay in the game for a long time.
So Darky's going to be designing at least 2 uniques every league going forward.
Yeah, every year, 8 new Darky uniques.
What are you going to make, Tuna? What's your next one?
No, but I really like that. It's really good.
Yours is so cool, by the way, Tuna. Like,
My
got
what?
ideas. The you made the Eternal Struggle, right? Didn't you make
No.
that?
I didn't make any uniques. No.
You didn't make it? Wait, who was it?
But Eternal Struggle was Waggle's amulet, not?
Waggle.
Yeah.
Waggle. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't
Waggle,
do,
sorry.
like,
I thought
racing and
that
stuff.
Listen, to me, you're very fast as well.
Oh,
Very
hell no. I'm not one of them.
Okay.
I
Why
just
I
run
think
maps.
you were Waggle or Waggle was you is a good
I was
question.
like-
Waggle made a very cool item.
I was
Yeah,
a
they
little
are really
bit
cool,
surprised.
actually.
You
Tuna,
are
I didn't
really
know you're
speedy.
such a successful HCSSF racer.
Yeah.
Really speedy.
I mean, I
Super
can run the
fast.
campaign fast, but not really, like, I don't know. I'm more of just like a figure out
Well-
economy and builds and stuff.
All right, I'll take you out of the speedy boy list in my brain and
Yeah.
put you in the economic boy list. Okay?
Yeah, like I make it to maps in like 4 hours, but I don't run HCSSF ever.
It's still faster
Ever?
than me.
I think
Even
backwards
after
progression
practice.
is one of the worst designs in video gaming, and that's HC. So, but that's an argument for another
Mm.
time.
Wait,
Why not right
you
now?
played HCSSF and enjoyed it during a gauntlet?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't enjoy dying, and then I never played it again.
Oh. I was gonna say, like, I remember you playing SSF HD, didn't you? Like, what?
Oh, I played Gauntlet. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's what I thought. So I'm like, yeah, you're just really speedy, and you clearly won.
I mean, just by the way, Steel's Jewel is the best thing I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
that duel is
I-
insane.
Dude.
It's
What the
insanity.
hell?
Yeah.
That I don't even. That is actually mental. Like I need one of them on every character I ever make. I didn't even have a plan for the character yet, but I can guarantee whatever character I make wants one.
It's so
They're
cool.
gonna be so rare, dude. Gonna be so
It
rare,
doesn't
especially
matter.
the good ones.
And that shatter ring that Darky made, and
Yep.
I'm highly intrigued. I look forward to. And aren't they going to do another boss rush? Come on, Tuna, you got to do it so I can put you back in the other category.
That
If
Call
they,
of the
if they can
Void-
do a rush of how many maps you run, or
Right.
nah. I'm a
Yeah,
completely
right?
different category of gamer. I'm
They
really
should.
I'm a
They should
different
do
breed.
more than just don't die to these
Give me-
these endgame bosses.
I
Give
really
me
like
a rush
sleeping as
in
well.
soft-
I don't
Give
really
me a
like the
rush in
race.
software trade where you have to play solo, and it's just about like running X tiers of maps as quick as possible. And I'm
time
in.
to not sleep for 3 days.
Yeah, I'll do that race. I just want to juice and farm. Man, I usually die in Act 1 like 4 times. Like I'm not gonna make the hardcore.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What? Rowers are dangerous. What do you want? You know those new rare modifiers are like way worse than our current rares, and they're gonna be on rowers in the mud flats, and they're just gonna
Yeah.
obliterate you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're probably just going to get one mod on them, though, right? Because they ramp later. They're
Surely.
going to go ramping.
Okay, but
Surely
white
they'll
rowers
take it
kill
easy
me.
on us.
Just strafe it. Like Toro. Strafe it. Toro, come on. Strafe that bitch.
Yeah, man. I'm feeling a little bit sad about that because I kind of skipped all arch nemesis after some horrible rips and some unpredictable damage output from them, and now I feel like
You're scared.
what am I doing now? They're going onto the normal rare monster pool, and now I don't know what all these mods do. That's like actually my biggest gripe with this is like not only is it like most likely a sneaky nerf to Headhunter, which I mean that's fine, but also
Yo.
what people are not taking into account or what I haven't seen talked about enough is the fact that how is this exactly better than the mods that we had before? Because this is for all I I could say it's super obscure. Like that was my problem with the Arch Nemesis design to begin with. It's like gargantuan. What the fuck is that? What does that do? And now you have that on every rare monster. How are new players going to learn the game? It's like extra damage, faster attacks, all that. At least if you read it, you can understand it. Now, if you don't have like a book with like what every mod does, you're gonna be shit out of luck.
Like it says substantial fizz, and you think to yourself, oh, deals
Better not get
substantial
hit.
fizz. Or like powerful crits. You're like, it's got powerful crits. Like it's like, and then they address this as like now it's gonna be like more simple to understand. It's like, what?
Well, it's easier to read, but it's not easier to understand. That's my problem.
Yeah,
You're literally gonna have to go to a list to figure out what assassin does, and it's like, oh, it deals 50% increased critical strike chance and 25 multi or whatever. So that's like literally what it is.
We're just going to learn the same way that every new player learns and goes to a third-party website. Come on, guys. Like, that's the way the game works.
I mean, I've always
I don't
been
know why
fine
we're
with
surprised.
So, like, yeah, okay, slightly more obscure, but
Not really.
but also way more obvious once you learn them. The Arch Nemesis stuff all have really super clear visuals that once we learn them, we'll be able to associate at a split second. We will know what things do. Whereas in reality, right now, I don't know what any rare does. Like you say, substantial fizz. I can't remember the last time I saw a rare with substantial fizz. I'm positive that there were 70 of them in my last map, but I didn't see that any of them had that because I can't see it and I'd have to mouse over it.
Yeah, it's got
I was
a
gonna say, Balor, don't pretend like you're reading the rare monster mods.
It's the brown orange aura.
But the new rares have super clear visuals associated with their things. And over the course of this first league, we will be able to learn those, and then they will be identified to us like immediately without having to mouse over them. And I really like that.
I don't know. I don't think all of them have very clear visual. Like if you look at like a gargantuan or an assassin, it's like they're just like the same version of themselves, just a little bigger.
It's huge. Like that's really it. Yeah. And I'm terrified for the ice prison. I don't want to listen.
It was horrible.
Phasing will deal with that, but I don't want to always wear a phasing flask to deal with getting stuck in an ice mirage prison of danger. Okay.
Remember the rare that like did a frost wall and then ran away? We're gonna get that one too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. Enjoy. It's like having that Waka Waka boss at the end, but now there's a frost wall involved. And they still move away, and it's really frustrating.
Or the fact that they're going to be like a lot tankier now, and early league you're going to be just starting, and then you find one that's like, I don't know, gargantuan assassin with soul eater, and you're like, and you accidentally kill the pack next to him, and now he has like 70 stacks of soul eater, and he also has the other arch nemesis mods. You're screwed, man. Well, or you get that in the middle of your harvest. It's like, man.
I think people will just have to learn that you can't always kill every monster, and that there's some monsters that you're better off not fighting and just running away from.
That's not fair for harvest. And I just, once you said harvest and I thought about it, eyes widened, terrified.
That's true.
No.
With harvest, you can't abandon them.
Think about already how bad things like Expedition are.
It's awful.
Expedition's
Here's
fine.
the thing, though. The new mods are not stacking auras like the old ones. So in those instances that you guys are talking about, it might even be easier because even though there might be 7 rares there, they've all got their individual mods. They're not like overlapping, stacking up auras that
well, I mean, they still have auras. We clearly see here that there's still subfizz and haste that still gives you an aura.
Yeah.
Those auras are still there.
There are some auras still.
The subfizz is on
everything was an aura before. Like everything was an aura before.
Not
There's way less
aura.
of that now.
There was tons of mods like that applied only locally to the monster, like extra
fire,
like
the gain is extra and all that stuff. Or like the powerful crits, all that stuff was local.
Fast attacks.
And then you had like auras that were like,
it looks like there's maybe I'm wrong. It just looks like there's way less things that are auras coming out. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I hope
we're still going to get death squads of 7 rares just lined up in a row to one-shot us.
All I
Well,
know
we
is I
100%
hope
are.
I don't open up a pack and then they just have can't leech and like that's my jam. That's the character. You know
Yeah,
that I'm just
do you
dead.
reckon the mod an Arch Nemesis mod that removed your ability to regenerate? Do you think that will still be there? Because Chris said that they're keeping
They
the
said-
leech one in, the no leech, but like the no regen. That would be
I hope
very
not.
rough. That would be an insta death for like Righteous Fire builds.
That would actually be really bullshit for a Righteous
You
Fire build.
can't
now that
avoid
you
it, right?
mention
You just walk past the monster, and before you notice that the monster has that mod, at least the first time, you're gonna be dead.
I mean, they
Yeah,
have to take
there's-
out a lot of these mods. You imagine like Consecrator, or also
Yeah.
there was another mod, like even Bonebreaker has Resolute Technique, right? So what
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
evasion builds? It's like,
What about cock builds? Oh wait, no,
Yep.
the other way around.
I mean, yeah, if cock builds are using like Inspire Learning or Headhunter, then they're completely screwed in that regard.
Mhm.
But I mean, in
Yeah.
general, I think you shouldn't be punishing someone for building evasion just because you decided
No.
to add a mod to a monster that says like I completely ignore your evasion. It's like,
Yeah, I'm
like,
just gonna
what?
one tap you. Enjoy it.
I know it's like it's important to have layers, but if a monster just says like you just disregard your layer, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, it's they have. I'm hoping that I know that they said that not all of these are going to go in full force as they were in Arch
Mhm.
Nemesis. So I'm hoping to see maybe they're nerfed. Maybe it's not completely disables my leech. Maybe it's like leech at 0.02 or something really small, right? So I'm still getting a little something, or maybe like yeah. There are certain things that I am a little concerned about because honestly, once Arch Nemesis was done challenge-wise for me, I never looked back at touching anything ever again. And the idea of having to deal with those mods again is like, oh god. Oh no.
Arch Nemesis is such a bad mechanic. I'm sorry to say,
Ah,
it's so bad, and I like did it like so much. And it's
mhm.
just the annoyance of like filtering in my head the recipes that I have and being like, okay, I'm at this stage, and then going to my thing and like ticking it
Ugh.
off, and then making sure I don't pick up the ones that I don't need because I already have 3 of the types and my shit's gonna get full. It's like,
Yeah,
bro, like
It
come
was-
on.
it was bad. Yeah.
I think
yeah.
it's really like at some point like I completely okay with them sticking to their guns for certain things, but they always got to remember like games have to be fun, and when things get really fucking tedious, it
Yep.
stops being fun, and it's really important for them to just sort of step back and be like, "Come on, man, like get a grip, dude. what's having more inventory space is gonna do? Like, why is it so bad? Like,
I mean, I'm glad it's gone, and I'm happy that they use the modifier system to improve the base game, and I
Yeah.
hope that it's not going to be as bad as I think it is. But at least this first league, I'm happy to see it. If it's a problem for new players down the line that there's too much obscurity, then I hope they fix it somehow. But for now, I'm just looking forward to a league where rare monsters get to fight back, actually. That's going to be cool. It's some meaningful fights. But now, hands down, how bad do you guys think is it going to be of a Headhunter nerf? Like the whole fact that Bloodlines and Nemesis mods are removed, right? So you can't get Soul Eater anymore and stuff
You
like that.
still
You can
can.
only get the Arch
They
Nemesis
can.
mods.
Soul Eater exists still in
Soul Eater
Arch
exists?
Nem mod. Yep, it's an Arch
Okay.
Nem mod.
might
That-
even be more
trust me,
common now.
I think that Headhunter is actually going to be better because some of the disgusting mods you can get on like from these Arch Nemesis mods,
I
I feel
think
bad for the enemies, kind of.
I mean, at least
I
Shroud
think we're
Walker is gone.
missing. I think we might be missing the
God.
point where
Walker's not
Headhunter
gone.
might be nerfed. It's not
Why-
about the mod pools that are available. It's that you will only be able to have one of each kind. There is
Yeah,
no
but you can
longer
still
a
have all of
stacking
them.
amount.
It's
Yes.
giga nerfed. It's super nerfed.
Yeah, you can still have all of them, but you can only have one copy of
Yeah,
each.
one of each.
And
Mhm.
we're only guessing right now. Like, I can't guarantee
Yeah, we don't
that
know the
it's
numbers.
giga nerfed, but I think it's giga nerfed.
I would be surprised if it came out same strong or even stronger. Like,
It's
why would
definitely
they?
like, yeah, completely nerfed. I think it's just the
I
way
think it's
for
still
them to
gonna be
address
fun.
it is like a little different. Because regardless of whatever, like the real power from Headhunter came from being able to stack mods. Like
Mm.
getting like 10 powerful crits made your crit multi go from 100 to 1,200. You know, so and that was like multiplicative. They multiply each other. So I mean, in general, it's just it's incredibly nerfed compared to what it was. And as strong as these Arch Nemesis mods are going to be, you're going to be capped to 17, which is the amount of Arch Nemesis mods that there are, as opposed to you being able to have like 60 auras or 60 different. Because like, you know, when you use a headhunter and like you get
where do you
one
get that number from?
top, 17 is like what we currently add.
What we currently had, but they added Union of Souls, Void Spawn of Abaxoth, Spirit Walkers, and Heralds of Obelix Bloodlines modifiers incorporated in the Arch Nemesis. Oh, mate, it can only be found on Magic.
So we're gonna have to see basically how many there are, but as opposed to you being able to like stack, like 17 haste auras or sub fizz auras or whatever, it's a little bit
even
of
if there's 30
difference.
Like we're still capping out at 30.
But
Storm Herald and Final Gasp have been added to rare monsters. Storm Herald and Final Gasp. Yeah.
How many rare monsters you're killing? How fast you're already going with a headhunter? Like,
that's fine, but we're not arguing like whether you need it or not, right?
Yeah, no. I just think that you're still going to clear at a really fast pace. You just won't be you won't be gargantuan as much as you want to be.
It will almost certainly still be a good belt. I don't think it's like nerfed into the ground to be worthless. We're just comparing it to its current state. I don't think it'll be anywhere near as powerful.
If you're one-shotting everything you touch because you have a headhunter, what is more power? Like if it's going to one-shot at its new one to one-shotting at it, what it's at now.
There's always something.
I one-shot before I pick up a headhunter buff.
Well, then why do you care?
Because it's fun.
Why do you care?
Because it's fun.
Like, you
and
know,
also,
like
because there's always content that you can aspire to that's more difficult. Like I don't know if you try like a 17 mod map with like Greater Forces Delirium. By the end of the map, even if your build's absolutely insane with 40 HH mods, it gets pretty spicy, man.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that Headhunter always rewarded you for. Like the juice ended up being an extension of your build at that point. So it's like you are motivated to create to live within this feedback loop of I want to add more in my map, and that will add more to my build. And then you also get to have this experience where it's pretty like you get this synergy between juice and you get the synergy between your build, and it ends up also being fun, right? Because that's essentially why we use HH, because it's ridiculous and it's fun, and that's Path of Exile. But
yeah. Well, does it refresh your current? So if you kill, let's say, it doesn't refresh the buff.
Well, currently it doesn't refresh, especially considering, like, currently what happens is you just get another stack on top, and then your first ones will elapse, right? So the way that I'm seeing it, by them saying you cannot have more than one, is just going to run out, and then you can get it again.
I'm assuming that it will refresh the buff.
Fine.
Haven't they said that it refreshes? Haven't they?
No, I don't know.
They didn't mention either way. I'm assuming that it will refresh because that's how all buffs that you reapply work. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you
I can search.
If you have a Val Haste and you can get the Val Haste souls back before you run out, you don't it just refreshes to its maximum duration. It doesn't like take it off and apply a new one.
Well, that's somebody in chat said it will be more like playing a shrine buffs, and I'm like, well, that would be okay. Like shrine is great. So, like it would still be okay. I agree. If you're gonna compare it to like now's Headhunter, yeah, sure, it's definitely nerfed. I can't deny that. Yeah, if you can have like 16 stacks of haste, yeah, okay, for sure.
Biggest problem.
But if it refreshes,
yeah, refreshing would be nice. But also the biggest problem is that Mage Blood exists, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of this because then now everyone's just like goodbye, Headhunter. Mage Blood is my new best friend, which like there's I don't know.
Mage Blood and 2 inspired learnings. Off I go.
Yeah, wow. I don't know. I've always been like a HH fanboy, so for me it's really a sad time. Like first you lose Self Curse, which I wasn't playing all the time, but I thought that was really fun. First you lose Self Curse, and then you have this, and I don't know.
Well,
I want to be wrong, and I'm open to being wrong. I'm still going to get a Headhunter, and I'm going to hope that I just slap it on and go, never mind, this is great. I'm having fun again. That's what I want to happen, and I'm still going to collect one. I'm still going to put it on, and I want to be completely wrong. I want to be completely wrong.
Me too.
I'll be super happy with that.
Do you want some copium?
I would love some, please.
Hand me that copium pump.
Right.
Right. Other topic. The challenge system is completely new. We get it got squished down a little bit, so you don't have to do as many meaningless challenges, like use a chaos orb or something like that. And you'll get, with a similar amount of time investment and achievement, you will get a similar amount of MTX, but at the top end, they added a lot more challenges to keep people grinding longer. Is that a good change? Is that a bad change? Or do you not care about challenges?
I haven't cared about challenges, but now the rewards look worth doing, and they might have trapped me in exactly what they were hoping to do.
Yeah, it's about them enticing us to care about them, and that's what matters. I think it's a great change, and I think also I really like that the shit looks insane. Like what they're giving us looks crazy. So
Yeah.
it looks good.
Yeah.
It's like for the first time that I look at it, and it doesn't feel like they're just giving me like a little bit of something to then be like, oh, now that you have these wings that don't match with anything else that you have, it's time to open the shop, buddy, and find something that matches it. But it's just like the cynical part in me thinking that. But now I can get this like crazy ass looking reverse dragon wing, like dragon hunter armor. Like it's just like holy shit.
And the entire set.
It looks so sick. Like I'm looking at it on stream now. It actually looks dope. It looks like the dragon hunter armor in Dark Souls 3.
It looks so good. Wait, so there are 2 armor sets, but one of them glows and one of them doesn't, right? So if I want to be flat.
It basically looks like the same armor set with the character effect.
Probably a character effect, right?
No, they specifically said that there's 2 armor sets.
There's 2 whole sets. So you'll get the first set relatively early and relatively easily. And like most people will be able to do that. And then you'll have to do the much harder challenges to get the glowy, fiery version.
5 pieces in each set: helmet, gloves, body armor, boots, and the wings.
So it's also like a stay symbol. I think that's sick. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
That's pretty cool.
I think it looks really combinable. Like what you said, Tuna. You won't be like, oh, now I have to buy something that goes with it. But it looks like you can combine this with a large number of existing MTX that you may already have, because it's just so neutral. It looks like relatively gray, and the design looks like very, what's the word? Not ambiguous, but like it can swing both ways, kind of, right? Like it could be a little bit more like gothic. It could be a little bit more
bisexual design.
Well, no, an omnisexual design.
I can't deny it though. Why does their legs look so tiny? It's like their top half is so heavy, and then it goes.
I think that's just the Marauder model, right? He looks a little
just
Marauder skipped leg day. What is going on?
He did. Look at him.
Everyone skips leg day. They can't see our legs, dude. We just exist from the waist up.
The more that I'm looking at them, the less I can look at them because it's too ridiculous.
Just remember, in game we're going to be looking from the top, and we're not going to be able to notice.
That's pretty true. I, as somebody who used to do a lot of 40/40s until, honestly, all of them until they killed me in Ultimatum, purely out of RNG. I look forward to this because, yay, I get stuff, actual things that are worth it, not just a totem to be like, do you like my totem?
True.
Yeah. True. So that's pretty exciting. But even, what is it, 12 challenges or whatever to get a whole set, like, absolutely. And I personally, as a trade Andy, used to get annoyed when people are like, oh, I finished my challenge in week 2, and then they quit the game. And I'm like, how about you keep playing the game for more than just challenges? Please, I need to buy your stuff, please. You know, like, I need the economy to grow, please.
But just a quick side note, because you mentioned, please, I have to buy your stuff. I have to say, this is the latest in the league where just random shit from my dump tab is still selling regularly. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to do leveling practice, and people are messaging me for 1x items and 15C items and 50C items, and just stuff out of my rotating dump tabs is still just selling regularly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't wrong. Like, if you kept playing it, the player retention was high because the Atlas is literally that good. I think about it like a lot. It's really that good. It's really enjoyable to just run maps now and just try things on different characters.
And that's why I'm so fine with there not being any balance changes or something like that, because I literally would have taken 317 again just without Arch Nemesis and with a different mechanic, and that's what we're getting, and a whole lot of endgame on top. Like, really sick shit. So, yeah, I personally think it's going to be a banger, at least for myself. I'm just worried that people are gonna not give it a chance properly. But then again, like what Chris said, lots of people went to play the other games that came out during 3.17. So I hope that a reasonable amount of those people comes back, a reasonable percentage, and discovers how great the state of the game is right now and gets stuck on 3.18 just like we got stuck in 3.17.
Mm.
Any thoughts on the new MTX packs? Anything you want to highlight? You're gonna buy the new Kirax Vault Pass? And I guess we don't know yet. They haven't shown us anything.
I know. I'm gonna buy it.
I don't like battle passes. I didn't buy this one. I'm not gonna buy the next. But I think the MTX is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see them step away from just armor packs and shit. So I think it's really cool what they're doing.
I think generally the interactive layer that these MTXs have that change how certain skills look or how like certain aspects of your character are visualized. And I love that they are now taking the step that they're not keeping that kind of MTX exclusive to the Battle Pass, but now you can actually buy a similar type of MTX from the new supporter packs, right? Because we get like whole lot of these things that have like funny little interaction with your character stats.
I think the Battle Pass was literally a way for them to test this kind of stuff, right?
I agree. And honestly, man, that one with the hideout and the map device that blooms higher when you got, I don't know, I think they look really good. I already have like a bunch of armors. It's time to have more miscellaneous stuff. I love although I really want that silver flask thing just to look like, oh, look, I'm zooming now because I click this flask. Right? I want to see it, but it's not a part of the pack I like. So I guess I just have to make decisions, you know?
I just have to like make up money that I don't have because I want the $90 version of both pack and I can't afford either one. I'm not buying either of them, but like I want them both and I want them both now.
Same.
This is a great way. Like honestly, the ring that goes boom when you level up, I was worried that was going to pop off way more often. And I saw that you can do it in town, so I can't wait for people to just boom, boom.
People have been doing it with regression books.
Yeah.
Like 40 at a time. It's blinding.
I can't. I'm very excited to just go into town and be like, I can't see. I got to get out of here. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. I've always enjoyed, honestly, things about League Start that I really enjoy is running into town and seeing all these other people there. And then you see little people leveling up and it feels really like, you know, oh my God, the community's all out. You know?
Yeah.
Nice to see you. Little things.
We're all having a field day with the new league.
Exactly. And now with the new blinding celestial explosion. It's very cool.
Also, that healing ball that flies around is basically just like an ancient Wheatley in red.
That was an interesting choice that they added this little ancient ball that is kind of weirdly linked to your regen in a way, and like it's gonna just hit you with a beam when you're regenning. That's very cool. Very different.
Crazy ancient technology though, that flying around.
Ziggy was right. You know, this ancient technology is too good. Doors that just automatically open and medical drones.
I love that slight burn there. And also, like, there was like 2 more moments where Chris, there was the one thing with Diablo Immortal where he said Diablo Immortal's literally not a game. We're gonna play Path of Exile.
That was like so casually brutal.
Yeah.
He's not wrong though. He ain't wrong.
Yeah. No. I realized they're worried maybe a little bit about Diablo 4, right? Like, but Diablo Immortal, God. I mean, when it was announced, it literally drove like half the Diablo fan base to Path of Exile, so I can see why he's not scared of it. You guys still there?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you disappeared. I couldn't hear for a moment. Well, I mean, we're nearing the end of our 2-hour podcast duration. Is there anything that you guys still want to bring up? I mean, there's a lot of things that we probably haven't talked about, but I think the most glaring talking points, the most pressuring stuff is out. Is there something that went unmentioned? I was a little bit sad about the thing going away with the Maven Crucible, the not being able to roll. The Maven's Invitation can't roll release all bosses at once anymore until someone told me that it's likely going to be one of the new keystones that we haven't seen yet. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
I have one other point. They got rid of a playstyle this league that I don't think they needed to get rid of, that wasn't causing a problem and was a different way to play. The Atlas boss rushing strat. It was pretty profitable, but it didn't ruin the market. It didn't ruin the game. It didn't flood anything. It was just a different way to play. And it was very similar to like Mephisto runs and stuff like that. Like it was just, open.
What was this good for? I missed that entire thing. I thought that was only used for like map progression early on in races and stuff like that. So that you rush to the boss.
It was basically infinite sustain of 2 maps that you could jump between, and you would use it to farm Conqueror maps and
right, like anything that
all of those pinnacle boss maps.
Right,
but it never crashed the price of that. Even though in softcore trade it became super like a super prevalent good thing to run for making money, like just for profitability. But the demand for those maps was so high that it barely even affected them. It was just a good thing. And it was just a very different way to play. And people were making characters specifically for it that were like similar to lab runners, so they could go like super quick. It was just a different way to play. And I don't feel like it broke anything. I don't feel like it broke anything economically. And it was just a completely different way to be playing the game. And they just kind of got rid of it, and that feels weird. Like it feels forced. I just don't know why it's gone. Even though it's not something I was going to do. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to do super juiced. Like, I want 1,000 rampage stacks while I can still see the portal that I entered the map from. That's the kind of mapping I do. Like, I was never going to do that, but I don't understand why it got taken away. Because it just wasn't breaking anything.
Maybe it was still like a way they don't want the game to be played.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right,
I'm still out of the loop on this one. I'm just like 2 maps.
Well, that's good. That's good because many viewers may be in the same boat. So, do you quickly want to explain what you were talking about, Balor?
Yeah, what are you saying?
Likely you're better at it than I am.
The TLDR was that you would take all of the interconnected map drop nodes, the
on the
small
bottom
ones.
Yeah. To do the thing.
And then a bunch of duplicate map drops, and then all the reward ones from the top of the tree, so that you would get the most amount of synthesis maps and elder maps and shaper maps and conqueror maps, right?
Okay.
And then you would pick 2 maps that were beside each other, so you could get the interconnected ones that were both very quick to get to the boss on.
Oh,
and so the trick was you would just launch the map, run directly to the boss, kill the boss, pick up maps off the floor, launch a new one.
Just to go again,
Yeah, and that was it. That was the whole pattern. You never had to clear the map or anything like that.
And they changed up the Atlas so you can't actually get all these.
Yeah, so the change that was made was that the interconnected map nodes, while they remain just as powerful in theory, they now give that random map to one random mob inside your map somewhere, instead of being the boss.
Oh yes, okay. When this happened, I commented, "Well, this works for me because I kill everything." But I totally get why. That's why I didn't look at this like it was a huge. Yeah, okay. No, I see what you're saying. I see.
Like it's now still a strategy. You can still take all those points and do it.
Yeah,
but you're back to clearing the whole map like every other playstyle is. Whereas we had this one unique. Yeah, we had this one unique playstyle that was different from all the others, and it wasn't something I did. I don't care. I wasn't going to run it this league either. It's not my kind of thing. but it was a unique
Yeah.
play style that didn't
No, it's
break
not.
the economy in any way, and I don't understand why they got rid of it. But oh well.
They just never liked us doing these things, running 2 maps and just rushing a boss. I'm thinking about like just the historical precedent they've done over taking away our strand maps or lowering.
No, I get that, but we're also
you know?
getting the ability back to sustain like
Mhm.
single maps, right? So it's
Yeah,
kind of weird.
It is actually. I never. Now I'm just annoyed that I never tried that strat because I love Harpies. I couldn't take out 2. There's love expedition, so I couldn't take out those notes, But I just couldn't. I couldn't give them up. But yeah, no. Now I'm kind of regretting not doing that strat, but at the same time, glad I didn't know about it because I wouldn't be missing it. Like people who did do it right now might be.
Oh yeah,
Right.
like I just see Delve mentioned in the chat. Maybe they just took it out because it was too easy to generate Delve juice with that, like on the favorable maps for that.
I don't know.
Probably
Delve
just
feels
didn't
like
like the
easy to
playstyle.
get just because nobody cares about even the scarabs for Delve right now.
Yeah, you can get
Like-
gilded Delve scarabs for free. Like,
We're actually true. Somebody in my chat's like,
Yeah,
I don't
good
want any of
point.
this Delve shit. You want it? I'm like, I don't know, man. And then I just have 50 scarabs. I'm like, I'm also not running these. Shit. yeah,
Rest in
yeah,
peace.
no, I felt it. Yeah,
yeah, no, that was my only other complaint. Is it's weird to have a unique playstyle just appear that also didn't break
yeah.
anything, didn't ruin any economy, didn't plummet anything into the dirt and ruin the fun for other people, and then just get nerfed for no reason. It's just weird.
It bothers them because they want it to be a % chance for these things to drop off of bosses instead of a guaranteed chance because you took all these things or whatever. That's what I imagine is they just wanted it to be more RNG based.
That's just
It
an abuse
feels to
case,
me.
right?
Yeah.
It feels to me like a nerf based on just old principles and not any thought process. Like someone has seen it and gone, oh, they're doing this boss rushing thing again where they skip the maps. Oh, we've never liked that in the past. We should just change that and not put any more thought into like, does it have any actual impact? Like, is it a valid strategy now? Has that changed since we didn't like it in the past? It's just been like a reaction to seeing it without a real thought process involved. That's what it feels like.
They probably have the data of like how much things are dropping and stuff like that, and they're probably thinking to themselves, "We made these things with like we didn't intend for this to be a thing, and now all of these maps are being created when we'd like them to be a little bit more scarce or whatever." And also, I feel like in a way they're just like saving us from our own degeneracy because sometimes people gravitate towards the thing that's most efficient rather than the thing that's most fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there are
can
plenty of
totally
people
see
who
that.
found that super fun. Not me, but plenty of
They
people.
found the currency fun, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. Also, like running straight to the boss or whatever. But then at the end of the day, it's like it's exactly how like Chris, like he's like, we don't want the game to be a spreadsheet, and that's like exactly what that is, right?
I mean, there are people who go to D2 and do like Mephisto runs for like 7 hours straight because they really enjoy it and count it as like some of the most fun stuff they've done. This is of the same vein.
I don't know. I think
But-
D2 is dog shit.
Same here.
I mean, me too, but
Same
I
here.
don't play D2. But I'm just like, people enjoy that.
I think
Some
it's
people,
honestly nostalgia, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
you
is.
like doing it
It
for
is.
a
I
while,
agree.
and then after a while, you're just you're done with it because there's no more content.
I was gonna say that. I think
Yeah.
D2 is an amazing game.
At the time, it was
25 years
absolutely
ago.
the best thing
Yeah.
ever. Yeah,
yeah.
I played it with
But
my brother when I was 6 years old. But still,
the point of that is it's just like some people really enjoy that sort of gameplay loop, right? Like, and I just don't understand really why to take it away. It wasn't
Yeah.
even like, it was a pretty good strategy that required pretty low investment, but it was not even near the highest strategy for making currency per hour, right? Like there were
yeah,
there
definitely.
were like 10 other strategies that involved more investment that would make you way more money than that, right? It was
Yeah.
for like a speed Alk and Go strategy. It was still very good. It was very good, but it wasn't the best. It's not like it suddenly broke and invalidated all the other
Plus,
things, which
the
would be a good
playstyle
argument to stop it.
Playstyle's probably not as degenerate as what is possible with single map sustain now with the new keystones that we get.
But they just
I'm
probably
telling
think it
you.
was just an abuse case and they didn't intend for it to
Yeah.
be a thing, and that's it.
Honestly, that's what I think, because gotta wreck the economy a bit. There's no like somebody's hodling those Warlord and Veritanias at 45C a pop, and especially if you're getting if this is how people are farming, there should be way more on the market. There's a monopoly running for 45C Veritanias. Okay, they never drop below that, and if people are running and getting map bosses boss. What am I trying to say here? Guardian map drops. There we go. So fast. then it's got it. Like that's got to be super. But I can't even imagine. Okay, I'm just gonna run to the middle of Ashen Woods now. There, I got my twisted. I'm leaving. Like that twisted's worth 40C. That took me less than 30 seconds. Again. Like that's OP, dude. That's
Yeah, you don't get one every map
40.
though.
Almost every map. That's 40C guaranteed off of 3 seconds of content, or like almost.
It's only like it's like a 2% chance for an Elder Guardian, and then a 1% chance for a Cortex, and then a 2% chance.
But didn't you just say I get some sort of boss map every mob?
So you would get
whatever.
the connected maps guaranteed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would always get another map to run. You wouldn't run out of normal maps, and then one in like I think it was like 1 in 6 or 1 in something map would drop a Guardian map.
And how
sometimes
fast
they would
do you do
duplicate
6 maps?
Oh, like I don't know, like 30 seconds a map and 30 seconds of load time. So it's like a minute a map.
Exactly. So that is so fast. That is so fast. That is insanely fast. Whereas it's just too
people
fast.
People are mentioning in chat that the spreadsheet warrior guys are saying 12x an hour, which like in theory is correct, but only when you've got like the 700% movement speed boost.
That's still pretty good.
That wasn't reality for most people.
I'm about
most
to get 700 move speed. 6?
Most people were making 6x.
So they're making half of that, and
not a map, an hour.
6x an hour is still pretty decent, especially for the layman, right? The average Joe.
Yeah.
If he can do this strat, like that's huge money for an average Joe.
I think it's more about like the balance between the barrier to entry and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you can argue it was too rewarding, and that's fine. And then you can balance the reward level. What gets me a little weird is removing that as a playstyle when it just appeared and seemed
But if you
cool.
balance the rewards, then you completely screw everyone else.
Yeah. For this brand new playstyle. Yeah, just kill everything in the map, forehead.
That's the problem. It's just literally just a fringe abuse case scenario that they had to tone down so that they didn't have to nerf everyone else's fun.
I'm still worried though that like it's always going to be that one monster that is left when I want to leave the map. Well, the one monster out of like 20
when you get to
30.
the end and you look up and it says there are 3 mobs remaining, and you're like, oh no, I haven't got my connected map yet.
I mean, have you ever done a Zana mission or Kirik mission where you haven't found the thing pretty early on? Because I think they just like literally have like a way to make sure that you're getting in.
Count. Because
I think it's the same.
Any map drop that happens completes the quest, even if it wasn't the guaranteed map.
For example, it's like a div card, and they will 100% have something coded that guarantees that div card drops for you. And it's the same. It's probably they just employed the same tech to make it work.
Maybe. I mean, the same strategy, obviously. Like, you can still spec the Alice the same way. Next league, it's just that you're back to running the whole map like every other strategy is run the whole map. And I just liked that there was something different. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice when there are different ways to play this game. Can't deny that.
But you can still just like kill the monsters fast, get the thing, and then leave.
Yeah.
Well, that's only just the sustain. You still need to kill the boss, right? Because the connected drops was the sustain, and then killing the boss was where the conqueror maps and bosses stuff.
Just do
in.
wasteful.
So it's
you
just
won't miss
back to
anything.
normal. It's just back to normal mapping now.
Yeah.
You just got better sustain than before.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see whether it's fine. I'm optimistic. It's gonna be great. Just quick closing round, because I do realize that we've been going for quite a bit more than 2 hours now. Seeing that there's no balance changes and we already have the patch notes, there's no reason for you guys to not tell me what build you're likely starting with. Tuna, what is your league starter?
I'm probably gonna be doing some champion lightning strike stuff. Champion mainly
Really?
because ranger I would mostly prefer doing ranger, but they killed my boy most likely, so I'm gonna be more building around a different belt this time around, like and more. So like I'm just gonna rush like perseverance belt and then inspired learnings, since
Oh.
there's probably gonna be like no point in going for a headhunter, and
And
champion
by perseverance,
has like
you
the
mean
best
mage blood.
belt. Yeah, no, perseverance belt. I don't like mage blood. I think it's, I don't know. It doesn't really interest me whatsoever, the belt. To be honest,
Yeah.
I bought it, I've had it, I just didn't like it.
There's one sitting in my stash now, and I've never built a character around it.
Corrupt that bitch.
I just
Yeah.
Double it up. Let's go.
I think the perseverance belt is really interesting for me, which is what I want to build around, because it's like your armor and evasion then counts towards attack damage, and that's sick.
That's very dope, actually.
especially when you get like 100,000 of both.
Yeah, and like,
Mhm.
we're like I'm looking at like maybe having like 60, 70,000 or whatever, so not completely going crazy with it, but that's already like a belt
That's
that gives
good.
you 40 to 50% more damage, and it, you're there when your defense is, it's like double dipping on an investment, and I really like that. And inspired learnings are gonna be nuts, and lightning strike can fit 2 inspired learnings for practically free, so
You get that free fort too. You're going for the free fort, I assume.
so that's basically. But like then now we're so jewel starved. All these good jewels. It's like what are we gonna do, man?
I'd like Forbiddens and the all max res be the same, and I'd
Yeah.
like another to allocate from another notable, and then so many jewels.
I haven't had a rare jewel in my build in a while. To be honest,
Or rare
last
jewels.
2 leagues.
Still really want to do a build with the replica Shroud of the Lightless with the 6 abyssal sockets and like six property abyssal jewels, but I mean when am I gonna get them? Probably
I'm
so
still
expensive.
leaning towards Lightning Arrow for a league start. Just because I really like bows. But I'm real concerned about the Headhunter. Because that was a build that pretty much relied on it with the plan of getting it by like day 3 or 4. And now I'm like, oh, do I want? Should I think of something else now?
Just get a
So, I don't
Biscos,
know.
rock the rampage. Just rampage your life away. Forget about Headhunter, okay? It's a thing of the past now.
Yeah. Biscos and Inspired
Rampage
Learning.
belt, 2 inspired learnings, off I go.
There you go. Exactly. See? Don't even worry.
Definitely get fit inspires on a bow build.
Mhm.
I can fit 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you can't use
Exactly.
line eyes, right?
No, I got 2 in a line ice.
Oof.
I got a
Good
plan.
luck.
2 and a
I've been
line eyes
testing
and
it
no
for like
life
the last 3
clusters.
weeks. Just like all I've been doing is testing the Lightning Arrow build.
All right. Then I mean, Lightning Arrow is a really good build. I've seen Havoc do some start practice with it as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
Um,
Havoc could like wield a wooden spoon and still make it
That's
look
true.
good.
It's
That's actually true.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
can't
say
argue with
is
that.
like, is if Havoc practices a specific start, then he usually does it because it's promising and not because it's trash, and he wants to show
Yeah,
what god
yeah.
player he is. But yeah,
Sure,
he
but I
could.
think he could do anything.
Yeah,
You
fair
know
enough.
what?
Fair enough.
I
but
know
he
why.
usually.
Go ahead.
No,
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the exact same thing again. Tell us what is your starter? Or whatever you wanted to say.
I'm going to say two things. I know why I thought that Tuna was a speedy boy because he killed me twice in our battle royale,
Oh,
and
no.
I followed him around.
I can't wait for that
I'm sorry.
to happen again.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I tried to run. It was too fast. Too fast.
I actually hate the battle royale because the ping is so bad.
It's
Like ping in
pretty.
PoE is awful from the EU. It's just not good.
Oh, I bet. Listen, I had better ping, but I didn't have a move skill. You did, so I was dead twice. Yeah,
I'm
no,
actually
that's.
terrible compared to the people that are actually good at that shit. Holy,
Oh my god!
it's so
You mentioning
frustrating that
Havoc.
game mode.
Oh, and it really is. You mentioning Havoc reminded me of my Tuna murdering me twice. Yeah,
Bless.
but my league start: Herald of Agony champion using Storm Rain. I also have an Explosive Concoction Ascendant who's super dope. Like she'd be really great for league start and endgame bosses too. And I mean, those are the two I'm pretty much set on my Herald of Agony though.
Is Herald of Agony with Storm Rain. Storm Rain is full conversion or only 50%?
Nope. It does convert what? No, it's like 50, right? No, yeah, it's like 50, and your damage
doesn't
not
actually matter.
like
Ice Crash. Or
yeah, not at
like
100, but it doesn't matter because you don't do any damage with Storm Rain either. You're just using it to apply poisons and do life gain on hit.
Right, I'm just saying if it didn't deal any physical damage, there would be some extra work involved in making it poison.
Oh yeah.
3 chaos damage or something.
Oh right, sure.
Yeah.
You can get flat chaos damage somewhere.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Correct. Easy.
So that's the plan because I know this build really well. It can do all open fields and all that stuff, and I'm pretty excited about it.
What was it, champion or gladiator?
Champion. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense. Man, champion is just so good. That's the one thing that I hope, like I said earlier, like some small adjustments. Like, why does champion get the guaranteed fortify at full value? It would still be good if you only got 10 fortify stacks guaranteed permanent.
Why are you nerfing that? Don't say that.
Whoa. Hang on. Calm
What are
down.
you doing? What are you saying?
It's unfair.
No.
It's unfair that champion gets more fortify than another class that actually uses the fortify gem. And is meaty.
It's fine. Everybody look at that champion. Cat. That's adorable.
Yeah,
look at the cat.
Mister. Look at Mister. He's huge. Just look at him. Forget about all of that champion nerf nonsense.
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, look at he's very cute, boy.
You guys are not productive.
I mean, we don't nerf anything. What are you saying? That's for next league, okay? This league, they said they even kept bugs in the game that should be changed just because they didn't want to nerf things. So if people are abusing the bugs, then they'll keep them in for one more league. I don't know what bugs they're talking about, but now I want to find out.
It's like some detonate dead thing.
Oh, is it?
It makes it deal more damage because of like a specter or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like 60% more damage because of a specific specter. So now all the race boys are like, like not happy about that because it's like
I bet.
But it's always gonna be like that. Like they have to run the best thing, especially since it's a competition, and then everyone complains about the best thing being like the same thing always. It's like when slams were a thing, everyone hated slams, and then now that they're not a thing anymore, people are like, we want slams back.
We want slams back.
I don't know. It makes sense though, because like they have to play that thing extensively, and if it stays in the game and it's good for like too long, it becomes pretty boring.
Aren't slams somewhat back with Lighty's helmet? When you hear skills deal more damage for each Warcry exerting them?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be.
Because like 3 Warcries, I mean the item shows it has 11%. Like that's a good chunk, like a 33% more multiplier when you use 3 Warcries. You do seismic and what is the other one? Intimidating and enduring or something like that. Enduring doesn't exert, but even if you only use 2, then that's like 22% more.
So what are you league starting, Catmaster?
Good that you ask. I almost forgot to tell you. Likely either Righteous Fire Inquisitor or Cold Dot Occultist, but I haven't decided which league I'm starting yet. I do think I'm out of the HCSSF for this time because I don't see realistically that I would be competing for the first boss kill, and B, I don't want to play DD.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's either HC trade. I've heard some people say that they want to play HC trade. If there's a meaningful amount of the HC player community playing HC trade, I will consider that. Other than that, I thought it would be fun to go. Actually, I'm considering all four this time. I'm like, softcore solo self-found would be cool for some self-imposed challenges with self-imposed death penalties, right? Like whenever I die, I have to spin a wheel and punish myself somehow, or something like that. Like Punish Core, I always wanted to do that, but that would require me to come up with actual rules and a document, and so that might be a little bit short notice. But yeah, I could still do that as a thing at a later point in time, like 1 month in or something like that, and start softcore trade. I'm actually I feel like I'm sort of divided between those four, but like leaning towards softcore trade more than anything else right now.
Softcore trade, Andy. I say join us.
Well,
join us.
I just feel there's so much new content that I will never experience without doing softcore trade first. And like the thing is, I can always, if I'm not partaking in a league start race, there's no reason to not play Trade League on start. You can always do a fresh start in SSF whenever you want to, right? But there's only one Trade League start.
True.
Yeah, that's my thought right now.
The start is definitely the most exciting part, for sure.
Absolutely. The first like 3 to 5 days are like the most fun of the entire league.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I'll decide. We'll see. Yeah, I think this is a good point to round things off. I want to quickly take the moment to thank all the viewers and people who stuck around, the listeners to not only the live version, but also to the recorded version. If you've missed the beginning of the podcast, this is always uploaded in full to all podcast platforms, and the video version will be available on YouTube. So check that out. It's CatmasterOP everywhere, or if you're on a podcast thing, just enter Fated Connections into your Spotify, into your Deezer, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever, and you will find it. What did I want to say? There was something else.
Reading your mind. Wait a minute.
No, I will. Before I forget it, thank you massively, both Tuna and Velyna. Oh man, I always mess it up.
Whatever. Velyna.
I'll just say Vel, then that problem
There
doesn't
you
even
go.
come up. Right,
yeah, exactly.
Sure.
No worries.
Is it long? Is it short? Doesn't matter. You just don't
Who
say
cares? It's Vel. That girl right there. Yeah, that one. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming on. It was very wholesome to talk to you and to share our first impressions of the league reveal. Also, of course, thanks to Balor. And guys, if you're not familiar with these broadcasters or you want to see more of them or whatever, just go to twitch.tv/crouching_Tuna for Tuna. And the other guys actually have proper names. Vel is Velyna. Ladies and gents. Dude, don't ladies also say guys when they're talking to their lady friends?
I say guys all the time, dude. I don't care. I say dudes to my lady friends. I call them guy. I call them everything. It doesn't matter.
Just wanted to make sure. Because my sister and her flatmate, they always say dude to each other.
Exactly.
What is gender anyway?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
But thanks for inviting me. It's really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for saying yes on such a short notice. This was thrown together last minute. We do have a podcast lined up for those of you who are looking forward to the next episode already. That will be on the first weekend into the league. So not the league start weekend itself, but it's the first weekend after the league start weekend. And that one will be with Tarky Cat and Grimro. That's an episode that we had planned already for around Gauntlet somewhere, but then it didn't work out because of health issues. And, it just didn't come together until this league again. But I'm really looking forward to that one. because just like Tuna, Grimoire was on the panel that interviewed Chris Wilson during the Crisis podcast time, right? And so what we really want to get into is like, how many of those points that were raised there have been resolved or have been improved upon, and like, what are we still looking to get out of the game that we haven't gotten since then? Alongside, of course, our first impressions of the league itself, which will be super interesting. But since that's still 2 weeks away, there may be another episode somewhere in between now and then that I'll throw together. Maybe. No promises, though. So follow me on Twitter if you want to know the exact dates for new upcoming episodes. And if we don't see each other, have a very beautiful league start.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.